So we've got. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome in. I'm so happy to see all of you wonderful, happy people out there live on chat or over on the YouTube. Welcome into episode 7, the penultimate episode of Fate of Cthulhu Return of Carcosa. Oh, by the way, other doc, I appreciate the rock and roll there. I thank you, thank you. It is so good to have you all here. I am happy to be here. Let me see, what do we have going on here? This is a great cast, a really fun show so far, and I want to thank you all for being here. And before we start, I want to, just say a word to our sponsors because they're the ones who help make this show, all of these shows happening. We've got let's see, what about five or six shows that we did for this season, which is the first season of Weave the Tale, which is very exciting, and it's coming out of Encounter Roleplay. It's a new name, a lot of the same old faces coming together and doing something really cool, something really new. And we had about 6 shows, and the only way, and of course, Weave the Tale, it's really important for Weave the Tale to make sure that we do things fairly and that people get compensated. And so, of course, in order to do that, we tend to, a little bit of sponsorship goes a long way, but also all the tips and bits and the helps and the subscriptions and all the follows that you all give us also help us. And so I want to go and give some love to our sponsors so that they know that we care about them. So for this season, our sponsors would say the games that we have produced that have gone on. We have Christopher Gray, who's done The Great American Witch, Broken Dice, which did the Nodon Chronicles, Black Void Games, which is Black Void, Mighty Narwhal, which does Mora, Schmunchy Games, which is probably pronounced Smunchy Games in English, which has done Parceling, Aracana Media, which is an Inbiru, Evil Hat Productions, which does our own Fate of Cthulhu, and that's very exciting. So you should definitely check out all of those games and companies. That's like, they're pretty neat, and I want to thank them for sponsoring us. We are also affiliated with 2 different organizations that will help you in the long run. So the first one, of course, is Grinding Coffee, and that is a Black LGBT plus owned coffee business that will deliver to your house. They will not use night gaunts or hounds of Tyndalos or other eldritch creatures to deliver the coffee, which would be good because, people tend to be corrupted terribly when eldritch creatures show up delivering coffee. Although maybe the coffee would counteract the eldritch creatures. You should order and see what happens. If you do and you use penny for a tail, you will get a discount. So I would definitely do that one. And of course, our other sponsor is Dungeons and Dice, and Dungeons and Dice is where you go for all of your dungeon needs. Wait, dice needs. Dice needs. Get your dice from them. Don't get your dungeons from them. I don't think they actually deliver dungeons or build them, because that's like a huge project in terms of construction to build an entire dungeon, especially like a 9-level one. And also I just feel like it's not cool anymore. Nobody wants that. But people do want dice. And if you use penny for a tail, you will get 10% off of your dice. And those are our sponsors. Disclaimers: this is an action horror game full of time travel. There are lots of things going on. Our great old one we're dealing with is the King in Yellow, Hastur, and the King in Yellow is an opponent that deals with madness, that deals with obsession, mostly obsession, and also plague. And so there's a lot of plague happening in this campaign. It's a sort of otherworldly plague that will lead to a lot of body horror. So if those are things you need to sort of just like ponder and think about, please take care of yourself. We as players have talked about our lines and veils. We have X, O, and N that we use in our chat. We also have red, green, and yellow cards, which are there for us, but also for you to see. And then we also talk about things afterwards, do aftercare and check in with each other. And if you're going to be running a game, I recommend you doing it, even if you know everyone. Like, I have played with everybody here before, except for Steph, but Sour Fruit Junkie is the best. But the point is, it's good for you to do even with your friends, because you never know what's going to happen. Everybody has a different day. So safety tools are important. And I would like to, at this point in time, introduce all of our players, without whom this show would not even happen. And I would like to introduce, first and foremost, uh, the woman with 4 eyes. And by that, I mean 2 of them are eldritch eyes that showed up and, are friendly, give her extra special vision powers, and sometimes creep out the audience. I don't know. I want to know how this works with her Instagram. So please, Jackie Dash, tell us who you are, who you are playing, and since you're on vacation, why don't you tell me your character's favorite vacation that they had?
Yeah, it was so funny because I was like, well, we both have pairs of eyes. So as soon as you hit the Instagram, I knew it was me. Hi, I'm Jackie
Mm-hmm.
Dash, pronoun she, her, and I'm playing Haley Howler Rogers, who was a Fitsona Instagram star and now is doing horror and investigations. You might find her YouTube channel, specifically her newest video is Top 10 Ghosts Who Possess Fisher Price Toys. So it's going pretty well. Not as much hits as we'd like, but it happens. Yeah, that's who I am, and I'm so excited to be here. And I'm hoping we make it off this island alive.
Me too. And what was Haley's favorite vacation?
Good question. There was at one point where so she skipped fire, the fire festival she was supposed to go to that. She heard there was not some good stuff happening. So she just took a little ship to the right of it and had a great beach time, did some good stretches up there, got her core all adjusted straight, massages, and it worked well.
Nice, nice. Let's then take it clockwise and go over to our other doc. Who are you? Who are you playing? Which of your Fisher Price toys was possessed by a ghost? And what was Jack's favorite vacation?
Hey, I'm Jim. I use he, him pronouns, as does my character, Jack Vasili. And Jack is an international thief and stage magician also, basically as a cover for the international thief part, who is has found that he has traveled back from the future, but now there's sort of an opening to be him, so he's being him now, and just sort of pretending to be his former self for a while until he figures out what he wants to do with his persona. But let's see. The Fisher Price toy that I always remember being the most possessed is, that little telephone on wheels?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like it actually would ring sometimes and just sort of, it's just, when it rolls up to you at random times and just starts ringing, and the person on the other end seems very concerned, but they also seem very far away, and they want to know how you're doing, and they want to know if it's time yet, whatever that means. And it's very, very disturbing as soon as you realize that there's not actually a speaker in there. So it's hard to really say.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, these things that happen. But at least the little glockenspiel was safe that they make. That one was always cool. But Jack, I think, hasn't thought about vacations for a very long time.
Yeah.
So he probably would take a vacation where he doesn't have to perform for anybody, where he doesn't have to do anything. He'd probably go somewhere quiet and just he'd do like the faraway cabin thing probably for a little while.
Yeah.
That cabin on the plains where all superheroes have to go when they when they decide they want to retire.
And then they grow a beard, or I don't know, things happen and there's ice.
Yeah.
It's, let's continue around the clockwise moment and find our wild engineer. Who are you? Who are you playing? Which of your Fisher Price toys have been, possessed by a ghost. And tell me about John's favorite vacation.
Hello, all. I'm Wild Engineer at Wild Engineer on Twitch and Twitter. And I am playing John Robinson, our wonderful dreamwalker who has done nothing horrible in the game at all, like eating
Nope.
corrupted fingers or anything like that.
Nope.
I don't quite remember exactly what my cursed or possessed Fisher Price toy was, but I do remember having an awesome Tutty Ruxpin, which told awesome stories even without a tape. Those are always good.
And John's favorite vacation.
Oh yes, John's favorite vacation would probably be. Let's see, probably one with a lot of fireworks that kept him awake all night long, so he didn't have to sleep and dream and think about all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And the next one is Sour Fruit Junkie. But Sour Fruit Junkie, you can just hold off for 1 second before you introduce yourself. I'm Trooper SJP, and I'm your GM. And I think my possessed Fisher Price toy would be, there was this one that was like a little board where you'd like press the buttons, a little pop-up thing, and you'd like close the pop-up thing, and like oh look, pops up a little like face. But when you close it, it kind of locks shut, and then like it caught my finger and just tried to eat it and wouldn't let go. And I was like, oh, that seems bad. So that would be my worrisomeness. But I feel like we're gonna go and introduce Sour Fruit Junkie. But Sour Fruit Junkie, I feel like you and I should have some time, just you and I, a bit of a discussion. Let's do that, shall we? Shall we?
Wonderful chat. A normal chat.
Let's have a normal chat. A normal chat. My most favorite Sour Fruit Junkie. By the way, sour fruit is delicious. I just thought I'd name it. So who are you? Who are you playing? Which of your Fisher Price toys was possessed by a ghost? And Elaine's favorite vacation?
I'm Steph. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm playing Elaine Chen, who is the discredited archaeologist from the future fighting against old magic. My haunted Fisher Price toy is, I imagine the worst thing would be, maybe the best thing is that popcorn popper thing, the lawn mowing popcorn popper. Because, I would just get in trouble for running that thing around the house, and I definitely wasn't the one running it around the house. Why would I do that? It just has a mind of its own sometimes, and no one believes me.
I believe you.
Listen.
I listen.
Then one day it was gone, and we still hear it. And then Elaine's vacation, I think there was a point when she was researching and like right on the breakthrough of like the clues that would lead her to Carcosa. And one of her friends, a writer, was just like, you need to take a break and come out to Spain. And I think that was like the last time she was coerced, defeated into taking a vacation then to go hang out with a friend.
I appreciate that you told me that. So let me tell everybody in chat what our donation scheme is, and then we're going to start. So helping us out with donations is really useful because it helps us pay for the cast and for vMix and the internet and all that business. And let me see. So here's what you can do. The first thing you can do, and I'm going to do this right now, is that you can retweet our going live tweet. And if you do, and we get 20 retweets or quote retweets, then something really nice will happen for the players. What that is, it's unclear. But if you gave us 30 retweets, then something really nice will happen to me, which usually is not so nice for the players, but usually exciting for me and the players, I hope. And at 40, you'll feel guilty that you gave me something nice, and you'll get to give them something nice back in return. And I would like to say thank you for all of that. And live now, boom, and I'm retweeting. So let's see, what does it say? How many do we have? We have, I don't know. How many do we have at this moment? We have 20. We have 20, everyone, which means there is a boon for our players that is going to happen. Something good will happen to them. But I feel like 20 is like such a sad number. Don't you want 30? If you give us some retweets, then I feel like we'll have a much better time. At least I will. And also for every 5 subscriptions, the group will get one very special fate point that they can use for something more exciting and impactful. And at the moment, we have one because we had 7 resubs that I saw, 7 subs, and that means they get a special fate point that I will. 7, 8. That's 8. That's 8. We're getting close to 2 people. So that's that. And I want to say, hey, watch out for that. That's very exciting. And Jim, what is your refresh, by the way? I want to give you some fate points. What is your refresh?
My refresh is 4.
Let me give you some fate points because you might
Thank
want
you.
those. You're welcome. I care about
I
you.
delight in points of fate.
You might want some points of fate. And then there
do.
are a couple ways in which you can also donate if you would like. And there are 3.5 ways. The first one, which is my favorite, for $5, you can donate a situation aspect that will hit the scene. And right now, a Frithiol actually has donated for a situation aspect, which I will put on the scene when we get there. And I will just also note that so far, every single aspect that has been donated has been the title episode for the title for the episode. And Ifrithiel just donated an aspect, so we will see how that goes. I'm very excited about that. For $10, you can help them clear one of their consequences, which, if you notice right now, there are 2 consequences happening right now. We have a big zombie bite that is hitting John right now, which is not so great for him. And also, our dearest Elaine has a broken leg, which is currently in a cast. And, well, it wasn't in a cast when she went away. It was just super broken when she went away, but we're going to find out where she's been and, how that's going. And for $15, if you notice the corruption clocks they all have, which brings them closer and closer to doom, for $15, one of those corruption clocks may be rolled back. So those are the things with that. And there's one last donation, and that is a one-time only $100 donation, which if you sort of do that one up there, it's a miracle. And that miracle will be something massive. They can use it to maybe save someone from dying, or perhaps positively impact the timeline. Their timeline right now is not looking super great, but they're working really hard to try to save humanity from the King in Yellow. Currently, there are 4 little elements. It's negative, negative, neutral, and negative, and they want to get some positives, and a miracle will help them with that. So that's all of our donations. And that said, let us begin and find our space in Spain. Where we left off, our dearest Elaine sort of woke up from a bit of a nap, I suppose. And it was Elaine and 2 of her friends, Valerie de la Rosa, and also Dr. Lydia Hale. And if I remember correctly, and I believe I do, because it is, after all, my job to remember these things, Elaine had just nodded off briefly. And when she woke up, she was at a nice sort of table at a cafe outside, and her 2 friends were there. And it's sunny. You can tell now, actually, it is Spain. It's where you had that vacation. And both Lydia and Valerie are there, and they're chatting about something. And you notice that little small itch that you get when you're wearing a cast you've been wearing a cast for a while, and it's almost healed, but that's still just a little itch that you get underneath the cast. And the sun is bright, and there's some really nice music in the background coming in from the restaurant. And Valerie has a nice glass of like rosé, and Lydia is drinking probably like I think Valerie has a sangria, and I think Lydia probably has like a soda, right, with maybe like a root beer float, like a root beer with a little bit of ice cream in it. And what are you drinking?
I think Elaine, even for the summer weather, is probably having an espresso. And there's like a very specific kind of espresso that's in Spain, where it's like a bit of mulled wine, some sugar, and a squeeze of lemon. And so it's just kind of
Yeah.
sitting
Oh,
there, like after having eaten some tapas, and we're just hanging
yeah.
out and just having this moment.
Oh, and it's so wonderful. And Lydia, she says, well, I don't know. I actually think that um, when you look at sort of early early Spanish sort of folk culture, I think we can sort of look at the way in which, say, the flamenco has been used. I actually think by the Franco regime as a form of nationalism, but I don't think that it actually necessarily works. What do you think about that? I mean, and I think we can think about the role of Catholicism in the country and how it sort of relates to sort of folk culture, sort of like folk witchcraft and the ways into the tensions between those things. But oh, Elaine, what do you think about that?
What? Where? Whoa! What is where? When is this? I'm
And
sorry. I
Valerie
just.
chuckles.
Oh, am I dreaming? I swear I was dreaming. Did I nod off? I'm not.
Valerie goes, "You did. You nodded off a little bit, but it's all right. It has been you are a little bit jet lagged from the flight, and it has been a long day.
Hmm.
We did a lot of hiking, but you're back with us now, of course. So, how are you feeling for your birthday?
Oh, this is. It's been a long time, huh? And I don't think Elaine really remembers the last time. Like she remembers this
Hmm.
vacation, like so long
Hmm.
ago, but also is this kind of taken aback by what has happened since then. I think she's just kind of lost
Hmm.
in that thought. Just, huh?
The scene aspect that I'm going to place on the scene,
Mm-hmm.
thanks to Ephrithiel. And I'm just going to note that we had Kitchen Bratlin donate aspects, and then also Roller 300 donate aspects. And Roller 300, do not think I forgot you. We put one on there, but you wanted a little bit of hassle for our Jack, and it will happen. Just noting it. And the aspect for this scene is everything is fine. That is the aspect.
Oh boy.
I don't know why that makes you nervous. I mean, everything is fine. I
It's
don't,
fine. I
I
just
don't
had a hike with a cast on my leg. Totally fine, trooper.
Yeah, that's weird, right?
Great. It'll be
Yeah,
great.
but you just
It's gonna be great.
and of course, on the actual vacation that you had, you remember it, you did go on a hike with them, which was very cool.
Mm-hmm.
You did not have a cast on your leg though at the time, so that's well, maybe you
Mm-hmm.
did. You don't remember that
Hard
you
to
did.
say.
Oh, you must have.
It's
You
been
must
so
have done.
long.
It's been
It's
so
been so
long.
long. Must have happened.
And
It must have been a very, very nice, just took our time. It's fine.
yeah, and a waiter comes up, and the waiter sort of stops, and he's wearing a sort of deep burgundy red jacket with a shirt, and a tie, and he just sort of hands like menus out to you all for dessert, and he sort of nods at you, at all three of you, and sort of walks back off.
When I take the menu, I think I
Mhm.
look at my hands. Like, are the
You're
eyes there? What if
yes,
the
but they're
eyes be there?
drawings.
They are.
They're
Oh,
drawings, right?
okay.
They're just like you don't
Mm-hmm.
know why you have drawings of eyes on your hands,
Yeah.
but that's weird. But they just look like
Mm-hmm.
drawings to you, like you had like sort of drawn them in yourself, maybe.
Mm-hmm. They kind of washed off from the other day from I guess some conversation we were having, and we were just kind of talking and speculating things. And I think, huh.
Yes, about
Mm-hmm.
like sort of like third eyes and what does it mean to have like where you would have eyes and
Mm-hmm.
what are the meanings of that. And
Mm-hmm.
and Lydia sort of leans over to you and she goes, "All right, now you'll have to tell me, you two," and she points to you and Valerie, "have been thick as thieves for quite some time. What have you two been working on?" And she sort of drinks her root beer float as you can hear sort of birds in the background and the light traffic, and you can hear the sounds of the ocean and the sea.
I think it's this thing where I wonder, I don't think Valerie and I have told many people about it, right? But
Mm,
we've only kind of,
mm-hmm.
it's always, so I think Elaine goes into it as well, it's like this, I've been researching the folklore around a lot of these Peruvian ruins and these symbols that seem to appear over and over again, very specific spaces within these areas
Oh,
the excavations that I have found, but they're not connected to anything I've ever seen before, but they have the only recorded evidence comes from folklore and possibly incomplete rituals from thousands of years ago, before we've recorded civilization, like almost 50 to like between the 20 to 50,000 year range. We don't know why, we don't know where, but that's where they're dated. We don't understand, like there's no evidence of where it comes from. It's not linked to Syria, it's not linked to anything else. But this is, I think it was, how did we find ourselves? I think it was it an online form? It's probably an online form. It's something probably. So I was like asking on a forum, and Valerie reached out, and we've just been connecting ever since. It's just been incredible. Like there are so many things that we just don't know, and I don't know if academia is ready to really hear about what we've discovered.
And Lydia sort of like, she almost rolls her eyes, but she doesn't. She goes, Elaine, look, you were brilliant in grad school, and I have always been impressed with your mind and the things you've thought about. But if you've got some sort of mysterious thing from between 20 and 50,000 years ago, well, where's the evidence? I mean, have you found potsherds, or what sort of what is the archaeological record? I'm sure that if there's something going on, I'm sure you can find it. And what?
Well,
what exactly?
That's what we're looking for, because they talk about the city, but they don't really specify where it could be, because the existence of the city could be anywhere from South America to Australia to Iceland. It just doesn't line up anywhere. Like the city is in all of these places at once, and it doesn't make sense. So
Well,
I don't know.
doesn't
Like there
make
is evidence. There has to be, because the city exists, but like I haven't found it, and people don't like waiting. People don't like giving me. I need more time. I just need more time.
And Valerie
More
says,
time.
"You know, we can find this. There is time. We will discover what it is there is to find." And Lydia looks at you both, and looks at Valerie, and says, "I'm sorry, Valerie. Where did you get your degree? What did you get it in?" And Valerie goes, "Well, I'm not an academic. I'm a practitioner." And Lydia sort of seems a little skeptical. Just, well, Elaine, I suspect that you'll be writing up your research on whatever it is that you're working on with your
I know
friend.
what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking, that she has no background in any of our academics. Like she's not actually a valuable source or anything, but it's academia and titles aren't everything. There's something about the experience, there's something about the knowledge that exists, that is unrecorded, that exists within our bones, our minds, within everything, within the fibers of our beings. Lydia, there's something else. There has to be. There's no other explanation. I can't come up with one that makes sense. This is all that's left.
Perhaps you've been working too hard, that's all. And you should just perhaps enjoy your vacation. Relax more.
I'm not gonna give up. I can't give up.
Well, Elaine, it's not about giving up. It's about... You don't need to give up, but I don't think you need to fight so hard either. You know, we're your friends, and we're here for you, and you can just be here with us and relax. Can I get a notice from you?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do anything about that?
I think...
You need a 3.
Oh. I think Stephanie thinks it's funny if I use my corrupted aspect to see what would happen.
Oh, then maybe you should.
Oh.
That gives you a +4, doesn't it?
Think so? Right? Yeah.
You've got a stunt, yeah?
It's more of like a gaze in the future. Like it's more of the ritual, but it's still like part of my corrupted aspect to like use the eyes on my palms just to like see through what's happening, but I'm also like, is
Yeah.
it worth messing with the timeline? I think it is. I'm gonna invoke my corrupted aspect, because I just kind of looked at it and I'm like, I wonder what would happen. To like, I need to prove my point to Lydia. Like, this is like, if I remember correctly, I'm going to like manifest this thing. Sorry, not sorry. Corruption pie is delicious.
Just
so I think
add
I'll
one
add
to the corruption pie right over there.
Yeah, so I think add 2 would be enough, or is this something where a reroll is worth doing? I think it's
and one
just
more
add
fate
2.
point will do it for you.
One more fate point? Okay. Yeah.
What
so
aspect?
2 fate points for...
A second aspect will do it.
Oh, so more than just the corruption, just taking the corrupted aspect that I have?
That one, and then one other aspect. So one is your corrupted aspect.
Determined, because I don't want to give up. I'm not gonna give up proving that this city is real.
And your hand, they're just drawings, it's just drawings of the eye, but you feel this pain as the hand that's just drawn with ink, a little bit washed out, maybe from the beach, starts to open.
Ooze this ink, right?
It oozes ink, right? And the ink just starts running onto the tablecloth, and it just starts to slowly open. And it opens the minute the waiter comes in. He comes back, and he asks, "Excuse me, would you like to order anything?" And you see him in his burgundy red jacket, just a short jacket, and the white shirt and the black bow tie, and his hair is slicked back. It's black, and he's got dark brown eyes. And he seems perfectly fine as he's sort of gesturing to the menu. And you see it so clearly, except that your vision sort of seems strange to you, because at the one hand, you're looking through your eyes, and on the other hands, you're looking through your hands. And you have this double vision. And from the palms of your hands, you also see him. And he is wearing a yellow jacket, not a red one. And his body is tall and thin, taller than it seems otherwise, and his limbs are long. His hands, when he puts them down, go down past his knees. They just seem stretched out and long. And his legs, the knees are on the other side like a locust. And he stands there with this grin that goes all the way across his face as he asks, "What would you like to eat?" pointing to this menu, this dessert menu. And no one else seems to notice him. Your two friends sit happily and calmly, with a bit of a smile, as he stands there, sort of looming over you.
And I think this happens in kind of like that mind space. And Elaine just turns and just looks. It's like, "You're him, aren't you?"
And the waiter smiles and he goes, "I'm just the waiter. What would you like to eat? What would you like to eat?"
What have you been telling John? What do you want with him?
Always so protective of that one.
He's not just a thing. He's a person. He is special.
He is special. And Lydia leans over. She's like, "Well, I'm thinking clearly she's not hearing the same conversation you're hearing." And she points. She goes, "I'm thinking I'll have number 11. Is that? Do you recommend it? What do you think, Elaine? Do you think 11's better, or do you think 7?
I think she snaps back and she's like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh." She just says, picks a number. It's like 3.
When you look at the menu, it's again this sort of double vision. You
Mhm,
have this list of desserts, all of them somewhat decadent, uh,
mhm,
very decadent actually. All of a sudden becomes like sort of like rich, sort of chocolate, and all these things are like Casilda's choice, all these different names. But then your hand, which is beginning to continue to leak ink, sees only yellow signs. The
mhm,
entire menu is full of the yellow sign, just scrawled as if scrawled in the ink from your hand, just scrawled on top of it. Uh, Desperate, um, as if someone was doing it to warn someone, to warn you, or maybe you did it to warn someone else, but it looks disturbing. And you can't read the menu, what's underneath it, because it's just these scrawled symbols. And there's the beach flowing, and Lydia just smiles at you. She goes, "3. That sounds wonderful. I'll have 3." She says to the waiter, and the waiter, sort of handsome, smiles and goes, "Of course, of course," and sort of starts to turn, and you can catch his eye, and his eye starts to rip and bleed down his cheek, and underneath you see yellow, like a bright, bright yellow, and the skin underneath the skin. And he smiles at you and he says, "It would be better if you just relax." And as he says that, walking off, Lydia says, "It would be better if you just relax. This is, after all, a vacation. There's nothing to be concerned about. Let's just go to the beach and enjoy ourselves and maybe take a nap. Just be calm. Because after all, everything is fine."
hmm. Waiting to go to the beach or hang out and wait. Trying to think. Let's think. I think. Let's see.
And Valerie looks a little confused.
Mhm.
She goes, "Yes, maybe going to the beach would be a good idea."
I think Elaine looks down at her hands, just still like bleeding ink, and neither of them notice. Like,
Mm-hmm. And
let's
they
go to
don't
the beach
stop
then.
bleeding.
Yes.
The ink
Yeah.
just keeps flowing onto the table.
Mhm.
And you can see the ink just bleeding all into the tablecloth, just staining it
Hmm.
black. But it's not like a full black. It's a kind of like slightly blue black, if you know what I mean, like the color of a raven's wings.
Little, like
And
that little bit of that fade on the edges. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And Valerie goes, "Yes, yes, let's go to the beach." And Lydia's about to stand. She goes, "No, wait. I'm afraid we can't go to the beach. I'm so sorry, I was wrong," she says as she's looking into the restaurant. "We've not finished our meal. We should wait for that then, shouldn't we? We should wait
No,
for our
well,
meal."
I mean, no, let's they make the meals, they make the dessert fresh, right? Like there's like I think you just ordered the bourbon cake that has to be made, like takes 40 minutes. It's made. It's the reason why it's
Oh,
so decadent. It's made on like
oh.
made to order. So let's go to the beach and we'll come back.
Just, no, we
Let's
can't go
let's
to the beach. We have to wait for the dessert. I mean, I'm so hungry. I'm so ravenously hungry. Uh, aren't you? By the way, the aspect that Roller donated, ravenously hungry, is still just hanging out. Just thought I'd let you know. Uh, and I would, because our chat is lovely, I would just like to put that in there, and I would like to give you a compel.
Hmm.
The compel is that you can't. I'll give you a fate point if you just decide not to leave this restaurant because you really want to wait for the food. You don't want to go anywhere. You want to stay here as long as it takes for the food to arrive.
Okay, for the food to arrive. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll take
All
the
right.
fate point to wait till the food arrives. To at least wait till the food
Mhm.
arrives. I will take the fate point.
Excellent. And she says, "Oh, we can't go. That would be rude. It would be rude. Just let's wait a little longer, shall we?"
Fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I
Oh, good.
just really, I would really, I just, the beach is very calming and I really miss the feeling of the ocean between my toes. So, I mean, as long as
Oh,
we go
understandable.
after eating, it's fine.
Oh, I'm sorry. While we're waiting, I was just wondering if I could ask you a small question. What exactly has your research been on Carcosa? You can tell me. I know you've been so secretive about it, but won't you tell me what you've researched, what you've found?
I think Elaine looks at her, says, "Where did you hear that from?
Oh,
You know
well,
about it then."
no, you just said 5 minutes ago about the city.
We talked about the city, but I haven't run across the name of it yet. We've
Oh,
been researching. That's fast. That's interesting. But well, from what
didn't you say
I've
the name
heard
of the
of it,
city?
if you've known, well, I'm not. Did I? Maybe I have.
Or you might have
I
done.
don't know.
Would you please
But
I'm going to make a rapport attack against you right now, and I would like you to defend, if you don't mind, with your will.
great,
Mm-hmm.
exciting. Okay, great,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Take one shift of mental stress.
Okay,
Just one.
cool.
No. I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, I'm fascinated by your work. Have you found any evidence of this place, or details? And Valerie sort of shakes in the corner, your friend. She just sort of has a bit of a shiver down her spine. You don't know
I make
why.
I look at Valerie and what is she what am I getting from her body language, from her energy? I
Empathy.
know her well, right? Like I know
Yeah.
her as a friend. I've worked so much with
Yeah.
her. I can, like, in the end, like when
Yeah.
everything happens, like there, even if I
Yeah.
don't clearly remember what's going on, there is an attachment.
Yeah.
So like what can I read from her?
Give me an empathy.
Empathy.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Would you like to spend a fate point?
See. I will spend a fate point. I think which I think I'm using the high concept because it's like, because of what I've been through with her, through my
Hmm.
discrediting and being the person who was there for
Hmm.
me, and in the end we came up with the plan to go back.
Yeah.
Like that relationship, that memory, that even if it's not present in this strange dream world, exists in my bones. Right, this thing I know
Yes.
about her.
Yes. As you look at her, she seems confused as to where she is or when she is. And you see flecks of gray starting to sort of creep into her hair as it was when you knew her. And she seems as if something or someone is dampening her, as if something
Hmm.
is making it hard for her to say things or perceive things. And she seems to be like there's like a low level panic underneath what seems to be a calm exterior.
Hmm.
And and then plates are brought out by the waiter. There's this bourbon cake. There's this volcano cake. There is this sort of ice cream with flowers on it, and each is laid in front of all three of you. And Lydia says, "Well, dessert's here. Please eat up." And she sort of takes this huge bite of this bourbon cake, and it's like the hugest bite, and her mouth sort of slightly distends to allow half of the cake to go into her face. It's just wider than a person's face should go. And you can see Valerie, and she is picking up the fork to eat it. but she doesn't seem at all comfortable with what's happening. Her eyes look panicked as she has this smile on her face as her hand is going in to reach into this ice cream that she has. And you see a tear come down her face as she starts to go and eat this ice cream.
Elaine will take that fork, the plate, and just throw it on the ground, and take that and just sweep her food onto the ground, and just stand up the best that she can. Stop it.
Lydia looks shocked. What's going on? What's wrong? What's happening?
I know what you are.
I don't understand. Don't you want to eat your dessert?
I think Elaine will shift her attention to Valerie and just hold her hand and try to like kneel down to her, like, I see you. You can fight him. Please. You have to. I want to help her somehow. And assist her out of what's suppressing her. And I would like to evoke the aspect that the yellow sign is buried, and so his power is weak.
I would like you to
but
make...
how would I could use that?
This is magic.
Ooh, okay.
This is magic. Which you use with your sciences, do you not?
I have a stunt where I can replace academics for lore when casting spells or rituals. So roll academics, see what happens. It's a 5. I'm assuming it's going to be it needs to be higher than 5 to break the spell, correct?
No.
No? Oh.
No, it's a 4. No.
Wow.
But there's a consequence here. You look at her, right? In the eyes. And you try to snap her out of this. And you see in her eyes a reflection. You see the knife. And you see the knife, and a hand is holding the knife, and the knife is coming towards her, and a face comes into view in the reflection of her eyes. And it's Haley. And there's this crack in her neck sound as she looks shocked. And there's a bruise on her forehead, and there's blood, and she doesn't know what's going on, and she realizes that something is happening. And she reaches to you, and she holds her neck, and she goes, "What?" And she blinks out of existence. As you see her transform into the Valerie that you knew from the present, and it's the same kind of movement that happened with Renee, as if she's rubber banded out of this space somewhere else. I need you to make a will roll with a difficulty of 5 as your backlash from the universe. You
barely
my friend,
squeak it.
You barely squeak by, but the backlash of the universe as you channel this magic and save your friend and get her out of this place. Your strength of will makes it so that you are able to withstand that. Getting her out was not that difficult. And Lydia looks at you and goes, "Are you all right, dear? We should get more dessert, don't you think? Aren't you hungry? I am. Waiter, could we have more, please? We should stay, don't you think?"
I need to go. No, I need to go.
By the way, that's a positive ripple on your end for the yellow sign being buried.
Oh, cool.
Oh, you don't need to go anywhere. Everything is fine. Stay. And she puts her hand on your forearm. And she grips it just a little tightly. And she says, "Sit. Just stay with us. Stay with us here. No one else needs you. It's all right. Come now. It's fine. Just stay with us. Tell us all about the King in Yellow. Tell us all about the King in Yellow and the Quiet One. Tell the story. Relay all the details.
No, I'm not gonna let you get to him.
And over.
No.
He's our very best friend. Wasn't he your assistant or something? You cared about him very much, didn't you? It's been so long. Stay with us. There's no need to go anywhere. And she will make that rapport attack on you.
Oh.
It's will.
It's will against will? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I will use a fate point because everything is fine. There's no need to want to leave at all. Making that a 6 versus your 3.
Making it 6 versus my 3. Ooh. This is a will roll. I will spend a fate point, I think, to re-roll that using determined.
Yes.
And then I will spend another to... I want to evoke the aspect.
What?
The King in Yellow is here somewhere.
And you know it, don't you?
And I know it.
Yeah.
And I know that this is not where I need to be. I can't be here, I think, is the thing that Elaine comes to terms with, that she cannot be here. If the King in Yellow is here.
Yeah. If you can get an 8, you can leave. Otherwise, you can't.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You're at 6.
I'm at 6, and I have that last fate point.
You do.
All right, because there's no other aspects really beyond the ones that are like keeping me here.
You've used determined. The King in Yellow is here somewhere, and you need.
Let's see.
I mean,
can I invoke the yellow sign is buried? Can I do the sign is buried, even though I used that earlier, right? Yeah, because I imagine
even they're here to help us. If you could explain
to help us, because it's.
If you could explain
I was thinking about that because it's Valerie, right? It's the other Valerie, and I know it's not the Valerie that I know, but I know it's from somewhere else, and I know it's the one that's tied to the goth group, right? In a way, so I know there's something involved where maybe it's not that far, but I think seeing another Valerie.
It was your Haley with the knife. Just noting that.
No, I remember that. Yeah. I think I'm reminded because I see that it's so jarring because I know the timelines are different. It's that timeline feeling, so I'm jarred again that like there's other things happening. There's like a timeline that needs saving. And so I'll spend those points.
That is an 8. And she holds your hand, and as her fingers dig into your forearm, you can see her fingers elongating, and the tips of them just turn yellow as they start to dig into your flesh. And it's like a Strix, and you can feel the blood in your arm being drawn into her fingers. And you think to yourself, maybe you never need to leave, or maybe you never will be able to leave. And you can see the waiter, tall, thin, gangly, and strange, like a praying mantis, at the edge of this patio, standing in front of the little gate that would take you out to the beach which is just over on that side, and you can hear the lapping of the water on the beach, and you can maybe remember the toes. But I don't know how you're feeling, and I want to know how you get out of this patio.
Oh. I think there's a moment where her hands begin to like sink into Elaine's arm, and it feels like it's the end. This is how I die. This is how everything ends. I lose to the king. I lose to the King in Yellow. And then I realize he's keeping me here because he's afraid. I realize that I am being kept here because I need to be somewhere else, because I need to go and do something, because he's afraid that there is a chance that I could stop him. And that, I think, despite all of from the grief of everything we've been through, from our rituals to finding each other, that it felt so dreadfully impossible that it is worth it somehow, that this moment that I can see and feel the king be afraid of me despite the smile on his face, despite everything he's trying to do. I stop. I simply take Lydia's hand, and the minute I touch it, she becomes the Lydia I remember. The hands are gone, but the blood is still there. And I just go, I need to go. But thank you.
She looks at you
for reminding
a little confused,
me.
as if she's not quite certain where she is.
This was an important memory for me to have. It's been so long. And I hope that it gets better. And I just kind of, slowly get up, putting away weight on my one side, and just slowly walk towards this gate, towards this figure. And he grows taller, arms are longer, smile reaching across and behind his face. And I think I close my eyes, put my hands out, and just walk through him, I think, to the blinding, because you see, when like the sun is glaring off the beach and the ocean.
Yes.
And as I'm going closer and closer towards him, that is all that this light begins to take up, to the point where his entire figure is just dissipates by the light that's reflected off the sea.
What you're wearing?
Oh, I think it's like.
Are they flip-flops? I just need to know.
They are flip-flops. Yeah, they're flip-flops. It's definitely flip-flops. It's like, they're not khakis, but they're just like short jeans, tank top. It's actually a more relaxed Elaine look than the typical like khakis black shirt.
And as you walk, you can feel the sand between your toes into your flip-flops as you walk onto the beach. Meanwhile, there's another beach somewhere else. And on that beach, we have our 3 other members of the home team. And they are clambering off of a boat that they have sailed all the way around an island to make it to a very a house that is a sort of a large, fancy house that is going to be holding Médecins Sans Frontières, the Doctors Without Borders. And you have, and it was Haley, because Haley has a lot of strange skills, because she does a lot as an Instagram model, and has sort of moved this boat into position, and you're all clambering off of this beach, I imagine. And you heard far in the distance, a very deep, deep, strange rumble. And far in the distance. What do you do?
I feel like we should you know what I do? I think I look back, because Lydia has the big gun. And so I look back to Lydia, and I'm just like,
Renee.
Sorry, Renee. Thank you. And I turn around.
She's not there.
Renee's not there.
But Elaine is there.
Elaine is there.
She's got her feet in the sand, and she's standing in the exact space where Renee was, but she's got her leg in a cast. She's wearing some flip-flops and some jean shorts, and a tank top, maybe a nice sun hat. I don't know, like a something to keep the sun off your face. And her hands are stained with ink.
A team.
The hell?
I think Elaine found us. How did you beat us here? We took a plane.
It's like when you vanished.
I think with that,
it's like when you vanished. Renee's must have gone back or somewhere else. Displaced her.
Yeah, the hand is just.
Jeez.
I think with that, Haley kind of just walks over to Elaine and kind of tries to do like a gentle like guide. And does Elaine look injured? Because thinking back to when Haley came back,
yeah,
there was a bunch of blood. There was a bunch of like I think Haley is trying to be like kind of like a quiet check-in in the middle of Zombie Island. So
I'm going to give an external description of Elaine, and I would like Sourfruit Junkie to give the rest of the description of Elaine.
Okay.
The external description of Elaine is that she looks great. She looks like she's had a tan. She looks well rested. She looks relaxed. That's like if you look at somebody who's just like who's just come back from vacation, that's the external look, except for all of this ink bleeding off of her hands. But I will make no claims to how Elaine looks in her face or any other way. How does Elaine? That's like the external vibe is like, I just came from the beach. But what is going on with you?
I think mentally she barely made it out. So like while she looks totally fine, her eyes are just like I think the look on her face is just like, where am I? Like, where am I? When am I? And that's what you know. So she's kind of in shock. Like she physically looks fine, but her face is in shock. She keeps looking at her hands. And like there's like instead of the blood, there's this like this rich dark. It could be blood, it could be ink. You're not sure. But then there's also just like this dark stain on her arm as well that you see.
I can imagine it being like an India ink that has that real kind of thickness to it, you know?
And it's just like it's like that super dark. It's super dark, but it's like it's not washing out, so it feels like ink, but it's not, and it's like almost like just drawing in the light around it. And I think if you like kind of take her by her shoulder, she goes, I saw I was with the king, I was with Valerie, I saw you. She looks at you, Haley. I saw you. I saw so much. I think I almost died. When are we? What is this? What happened? I just remember the play. And did we get the play? Did we get the play?
Did you come through a dream? Can you do that now too?
It wasn't my dream. I think it was the king's dream.
Oh, great. Folks, I'm feeling a little exposed out here right now. I think we better see if we can get into that clinic. Here, come on. I've sort of been helping John along. I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
John, can you can you move your wrists? Okay.
Well,
I just want to. I just want to show you something real quick because he's still got the cuffs on. So I'm like, okay, so just put your wrist together like this and then twist.
Okay.
And that should hopefully open the cuffs.
And could we give Elaine a corruption? That would be very lovely. And
Yeah.
if you look at the if we go to the timeline map, I just want to show the image to everyone of the kind of place where you're at. You're on the sort of outer area of Bonthe and Sierra Leone, and it's this sort of beautiful, slightly remote part of the island with sort of like there's a nice like sort of a pair of two-story houses sort of separate from everything else, and it's there where they're sort of doing all of their work, and that is where you are just not that far from it. You're just down the beach a little bit from this sort of beautiful place, with the sounds of creakings far off in the background, and then shufflings, and then the shuffling sounds louder, and it's sort of dark, and you can't really see things, but you can hear things coming closer. Thank you, Lydia.
Following Jack's cue, I think Haley, gently tries to lead Elaine towards the team. I think Elaine could probably notice like Haley's looking around. Haley's carrying I believe is it a handgun? Is that what Haley got from Jack?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's out. Obviously, like she's got trigger safety. But it is
because she's shot quite a lot before.
Because Fitsona, gotta. But we're trying to catch up. I think Haley does keep Elaine on the other side of John, as they make their way towards this building. I'm hoping there's no guards.
Let me ask you a question. Elaine, do you feel comforted by Haley's taking care of you in the way that you took care of her?
I think there's so much shock going on. That's not the first inclination that she's going to think about. Do I feel safe with Haley at this moment? Like, I think the greater whole is like, where is she? And I think if there is a moment of one-on-one, that is going to be a thing she will bring up, I think.
You let me know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And as you're making your way towards this beautiful house, which is sort of painted a nice, like it's a pink stucco, you hear something a lot closer than you might want it to be break, like the breaking of wood. You can't see anything yet still, but there's something out there as you make your way into this house, this building. Inside the building, it is a little bit of madness. There are a bunch of patients sitting in chairs, waiting. There are a number of sort of doctors moving about. This looks like they've got a good lab here. It's a really nice sort of medical outpost, infirmary, where people are trying to do their best to treat people from from what they think is, well, they think it's something that it is not. They think it's a hemorrhagic fever. They think it's Marburg hemorrhagic fever, but that's what they think in 2020. And there's like a group of people, and nobody on the inside yet. There's like sort of light music playing on a small radio. It's probably actually a tape player, to be honest, a cassette player, just playing some local music. And it's like some people are in pain. It's like a waiting room, like to a hospital. It's like an emergency room where it's slightly subdued mood, but there's some music coming in to make it seem not so bad. And people are moving around quite a lot. And what do you do?
Okay. I think as this is going on, and I'm just I see that people are sort of reorienting themselves. I'm going to try something.
Mm-hmm. And I will note you still have one special fate point left for the group, and you have one boon that will be coming to you at some point in time. I say that threateningly, but it's going to be a good thing. I'm just
Boon.
one boon. would you like to try?
So I'm just going to I'm going to kind of I'm going to bring John some of the ways further in so that they can kind of see that. I'm going to try to just sort of walk in, not imperiously necessarily, not all that, but I'm going to, as I'm coming, sort of bringing John along. I'm heading to just straight for the front desk, and I'm going to very quickly, in almost what might be considered a practiced fashion, I'm going to flash one of the badges that I picked up from that, or rather, that my future self just left for us.
Yes.
And I'm just going to lean over. Hey, hi, listen, medical envoy. I've got some very important information for Dr. Broder and a patient she's going to need to see pretty much immediately, because this is going to crack open the whole thing that she's working on right now. I promise you that.
Give me it's a little bit tricky. Is this a deceive or a rapport? I'm going to ask you, because there's a little bit of lie, but there's also a little bit of truth.
Yeah,
so I'm going to leave it up to
fair.
you.
I'm thinking deceive.
All right,
this
then.
Case.
Because you're not a medical envoy. I would roll that.
I'm trying to sort of lean into the authority sort of section of it a little bit, but not not in the same way Renee does. But this is
this is fair.
And also, my deceive is better than anything else. So here we go.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked to hear that about Jack. I'm shocked to hear that Jack that might be
I'm shocked too.
A bit of a deceiver. Give me your deceive. Good. That's a 3 versus 2. I will note that you currently have 3 positive check marks on your timeline. You only need 1 more to get a positive ripple. I'm just noting it. And there's a young person, sort of a slightly sort of androgynous haircut, and they look up to you, and they seem to be like maybe an intern, perhaps, right? Some sort of maybe a college student, somebody who's volunteered to work with Doctors Without Borders, but is not themselves a doctor, but is here trying to do their best. And they look up and they're like, of course. And you can also tell that they look and they notice the rifle that you have, and also, like, you all are armed, which is not unusual in a space of emergency, like there's like a whole government emergency shutdown, but it gives you a sense of authority having this sort of these weaponry, but also makes you feel a little threatened. And you can see this college student just like sort of nods and goes, just wait here, just wait here. And they get up and they sort of rush off down a hallway, and you're waiting a little bit in this moment. And John, you see this whole waiting room full of about 12 people, all of whom seem human, but you can tell they might have a fever or chills, fingertips perhaps turning a little bit yellow, which is a sort of a contrast to their dark skin. And they're sitting with this look of hunger in their eyes, as if they're famished. And they look at you, all 12 of them at once, just all turn their eyes to look at you, a little confused as to why they did so.
Just to turn everyone like, it's like, whatever the plan is, I think we need to get it done soon, because everyone here is becoming like the people we saw at the gates.
Oh, great. She's on her way. Hopefully we can get you back here. And actually, I just sort of quickly turned to Elaine. I'm like, I'm really glad you're here, because maybe you can explain some of the stuff that we've memorized. when Broder gets up here. But listen, Reader's Digest version, John has it. He has the one we're familiar with. He must have picked it up on one of his dream trips.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. And I think I like, it takes a second, like Elaine's like, what are you talking about? And then she kind of remembers back to like in the theater seeing the thing. It's like, oh God, I thought it was just, I noticed in the theater and I was just hoping it wasn't true.
Yeah, no, there's a whole
Damn it.
horde of, yeah.
Damn it.
There's a whole horde out there. Things are more advanced here than they're supposed to be.
Okay, well,
and
I remember the research. I remember what she needs to look for. I remember what we need to do it. We just need to get to her. Oh, I think she like mentions Haley to sit down, like kind of in that, because we're in the waiting room, right? It's kind of a large waiting room area.
Yep.
And it's like, she's like finishing up. It's like, okay, like yeah. I think I remember what we need to do, what needs to be synthesized, and now that I guess it's. At least we have patient 0. Oh God. Oh God.
well, she should be expecting you because you kind of already told her we were coming.
What?
And
it's ooh.
And then the intern comes back out and goes, Dr. Brodeur is ready to see you. Come on back.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's go.
I think as we're slowly walking, I think this is the moment where I think Elaine will like turn to Haley because she's kind of supporting her and walking. And then like she'll look at you.
The broken leg.
Mm-hmm. And she'll look
Except
at you,
that your leg feels fine, actually.
So I'm just kind of, I think she'll realize that eventually. Just like, this is interesting. So I'm just gonna kind of still go with this because like I have Haley next to me, and I think she'll look at her as like,
it's not 100% fine, but it's still like it's feeling much better.
Better. They can probably break me out of this at some point pretty soon. And I think Elaine will look at you, Haley, and says, I think I know how you got the dagger, and I forgive you. I know that Valerie wasn't the one that I knew, but I'm pretty sure you were able to get that dagger because you killed a version of my friend. It just kind of breaks it down of like, I forgive you, and works out the weird mental things that she's already worked out. Elaine has already gotten to a place where she already knows she'll never see her friend again, and so she just kind of like word vomits a bunch of this stuff of just like, hey, I forgive you. I know you didn't. I know how you got the dagger. I know that you didn't kill my friend, but I know that that's just something I'm going to have to deal with. But I forgive you.
I think Haley is like processing it in one ear. Your friend, I almost died, and I also feel like we're friends. And what? I think it's weirdly like much like a bird of prey when it like it's just a little bit like a little bit of puff up of Haley of like, now is it forgiven? We do what we have to do, right?
Yeah, we do. She kind of just like looks at you, like, yeah, we do. We have to. We kind of do. And I understand.
Because if
she's like, I understand.
Because if we're gonna unpack, my brother's involved. I feel like we're gonna need a lot of talking. And
and she like, I think as Elaine's like, I don't remember. I think we need to find your brother in this timeline. And I think we can definitely do that.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think we're getting like close to the room, and
Yes.
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
I think there were some points where Haley got a little bit louder and then cooled it down
Yeah.
a second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad you guys found me. I think this is good. I think I was meant to do this, and I think we're gonna have to live with what we do for the rest of our lives. And so I would love to break down my apologies as well once we get out of this.
And then
'Cause
this
I
is like
feel
right
like-
before we go to the door. Elaine's like, "What happened to the dagger?" It's like she'll ask, like, "What happened to the dagger?" As I walk through the door, but like it all just kind of has to switch.
Who's the last person into the lab?
Ooh, I'm gonna say it's me and Haley. It's gonna be Elaine and Haley, I think.
Agreed.
If that sits well
Yeah,
with
makes
everybody.
sense.
Okay.
So Jack, you bring John in, and there's a woman there. She's Dr. Brodeur, and she has got her hair is sort of like a dirty brown up in a bun with some streaks of gray. She is a woman who is, she's got a kind of strange mix of being sort of muscular but also gaunt, in the sense that she clearly has a person who's been very fit in her life, but it's been like a hard month or two is I think the best way to put it, right? That she's she can feel the effects of probably not sleeping a lot, and she's in a white lab coat. And when you're moved into this lab, it's this actually what was probably at one point in time a dining room or a banquet room that has been turned into a very state of the art as you can get sort of lab. And there are books and sort of notebooks everywhere. There are a couple people moving around. There's quite a bit of really good medical equipment. She's behind a really, really expensive microscope. And she looks up and she smiles when she sees you all. She's like, "Oh, well, bonsoir. It is good to see you all," she says as she sort of greets Jack and John, who come in first. "Oh, what do you have there?" She looks to John.
Just a bit of a bite, and I'm kind of bleeding, just kind of yellow.
Oh.
I mean, that's not
What?
normal, right?
No, it's not normal. Come sit down, she says, and she sort of brings up a chair for you. And she says, take your hand off, let me see. Oh, this is not good, my friend. One moment. And she pulls out like very long Q-tip to start taking cultures and swabs. Why are you here? And she sort of like starts taking cultures of this and starts taking some notes.
We came with Professor Chen.
Oh, yes, I got an email saying she was coming. And she sort of looks out to the doorway and she sees Elaine and Haley still talking about something over there in the corner. By the way, you can clear your mental stress for that conversation. And she sort of comes in and she starts like stitching up your wounds, John. Sort of still noting Elaine and Haley in the back. All right, so please tell me, what is going on? I was told there was some sort of information about the Marburg hemorrhagic fever.
Yeah, we have a formula we need to share with you that we think is going to help out a lot. We think it's actually presenting as multiple things, and but we think you might have the final puzzle piece of this thing. And it just sort of is. It looks. Dr. Chen understands most of it. If you like, I can start telling you some of it. I ended up memorizing it too, just in case it was kind of important. But Dr.
right.
Chen should be able to give you more context.
Okay, please. Dr. Chen?
And it was like right at the cut of like the dagger thing. She's like, "Oh yes, yes. What was the breakthrough? So you're almost there. These things are manifesting as different diseases, and it's not that they're different diseases. They all the same, but it's just that the outside keeps changing. You have to dig deeper into what's the protein. The protein, it's in there. It's inside of everything. It keeps shifting. It's molding. It's thinking.
I'm sorry. This is a Marburg hemorrhagic fever. We don't yet have a cure for it, but it is somewhat mundane.
That's what it looks like, and it's not, because what it actually is, it's all 5 of these things. And it's a new mutation. And the mutation is happening so quickly. It's almost as if it's just adapting along with us. So your cultures are almost there, but you cannot address it as 5 different things. You need to look into it and know that it's actually adapting, and it's far deeper. There's a protein structure that's in every single one of them that is unchanging, and that is what you need.
Oh, okay.
That is what you need.
Wait, this is Jack. You feel a shiver up your spine, as if something wet and slick is sliding up your body, slowly up your spine, up the back of your neck, and right to your ear. And you hear it saying, "Jack, they're coming. I don't know if the quiet one can stop them this time. You don't have much time." And your shadow detaches itself and slides back down your body and back onto the floor, as if it's a liquid pooling until it sort of pools itself out to be your shadow underneath the fluorescent lights. And then you do hear it.
Yeah, we need to hurry.
Haley, you're the closest to the door, right? Yeah, I thought you were.
To say yes.
But I feel like you are. Yeah. You can see down the hallway. Yeah. You can see 2 of the patients who are sitting in the waiting room. One of them gets up and seems to grip their stomach, and another one comes up and puts their arm around that first one to see if they're all right. And the first one reaches out and puts their hand on the shoulder of the second one, and then their hand starts growing into the first one, and they start combining slowly into one larger mass as their bodies twist, and what was once 2 people becomes one person, perhaps, and it's unclear where their bodies end and begin. And you see a third one be grabbed by that first 2 and pulls that one into the body. And then this thing makes that sound. As it starts growing 10 feet tall with 8 arms, and there were only 3 people. And there's a piece of a t-shirt on this large, massive shoulder. And it starts looking, and the intern screams and faints. And you can start hearing the other bodies.
Can I add a gross monster detail where the hands
Yes.
are kind of sprouting hand out of hand out of hand, so each of these limbs are so
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen Zygote, where it's just it's this immense blob limbs made of limbs made of limbs.
Yep. And there are eyes everywhere on the body, and hand out of hand, extra limbs, and the eyes all open, and they look right at you, Haley, and your second eyes open and stare back.
No. Double vision. So I think Haley takes a moment, because when the second pair of eyes open, it's like everything is blurry and then very sharp. It's like if you live your life without glasses and you suddenly get a pair of glasses, you didn't realize trees have individual leaves or grouting. So as soon as that happens, I think Haley looks, and I'm really hoping there's like a desk or something next to the door that I could just drag in front of it.
It's weird you say that, because there is a boon that is waiting for you, just for you, for the group. And that boon says that there is not just one desk, but there are quite a few quite heavy things that could be moved in front of that doorway.
Cool.
That is your boon.
I've done some deadlifts. I'm ready. I just start dragging, and it's the sound of like the desk grinding on tiles, old tiles, and it probably stops halfway through this discussion about protein. And Haley turns back to everyone and is like, I think it's time for the doctor to make a house call to somewhere else.
And she goes,
coming.
And she says, no, I have to stay here and synthesize this. If what she says is true, I will need your help. Just keep them away. Whatever they are.
And I think at this point, Haley looks to both Elaine and Jack kind of like, yes, no, huh? As she's pulling a second desk in the way.
You're absolutely sure you can't run and do this somewhere else?
And she looks at her equipment. No.
Crap. Okay. Guess we'll have to see if we can buy you some time.
Please, I need time. Dr. Chen, I need your help. You have to recite to me everything. All right. Please. And we're going to go into a bit of a contest to see who is able to get to the end point first. You all or them? Let us begin. Haley, I would need some physique to help build up some advantages for yourselves. And if anybody wants to, they can help.
For sure, I will be rolling physique. I have a +2 in it. I will probably be using a one of my aspects to add a bonus if things go bad. My high concept of famous online influencer. Like I've done these. I've done wild workout routines before. I've done the desk pull and the chair jaunt. Like that's back of my
Did
hand.
you do the planking thing too? Yeah, totally. Does anybody want to help add with their physique?
Yes.
You have to have at least a physique of 1.
I have a physique of 2.
Perfect. So you may add. Make the roll, Haley.
Do I get to add 1 before I roll?
Yes, you do. You add 1 before the roll because Jack is helping.
Thank you, Jack.
You're welcome. And they're going to try to bust down this door. You're trying to.
Yeah, I would like to re-roll. Do I still get that bonus 1 when I re-roll?
Yes, you do.
I'm gonna do it. I'm
and
gonna use
because you're an influencer. I take it. I need to have.
And I'm trying to see. None of these aspects are really. They're here to help us. Isn't really gonna be great right now. I'm guessing.
Not unless you
find something suddenly.
I mean, the plague is spreading.
Yeah,
that's what we're dealing with right now. The plague is spreading, and that would give us a positive ripple
3
if we do it.
Yeah, 3. You know what? I'm going to use another fate point as I see Gideon Fox as competition for views, and Jack has just come in here, and I'm assuming he is like just lifted something and put it on top, and I'm like, who do you think I am? I'm Haley Howlers, and so I'm like, just put something heavier on top, probably not following good form, but just to get a bonus.
Yeah. You have now created an aspect, and that is barricades. And that aspect currently has 1 free invoke on it, which you can use to help hold off these people. these, let's just call them plague bearers, because that's a good name for them. And that's also accurate for what's going on with them, just in case you want to know. So yeah, let's make them that. Now, Elaine, I need an academics from you.
Oh boy. And I have no fate points from like my excursion through the Yellow King's realm, I'm assuming, right? Like none of those things.
That is correct. You feel
Cool.
exhausted. You feel as if your inner will is sapped a little bit. There is one
And are these
fate point that is out there for the group that you can use. And also you can always compel something bad to happen to yourself to get a new fate point if you like.
Tempting. Okay, so academics, let's check it out. Let's check it out. You gonna do it for me? Did I do it? I can't tell this thing. Did I do it?
That is a 6.
Yes.
Out of 3. You have succeeded by 3. You need 5 more successes. 5 more shifts.
5 more shifts. Okay.
John, do you have academics?
I do.
Would you like to aid her with giving her a +1?
I have a stunt. Can I just do that, or do I have to have a point to do that?
What is it?
+2 at academics when rolling to create advantage when dealing with mission briefs. Technically, this is a mission brief.
Ah, so what this is you're not going to actually do your roll just yet. You're going to set yourself up for an advantage for next time.
Okay. Right? So this is that's something I can invoke for a roll next time. So this is an advantage building. Got
it. Which you can do if you want, or you can take this 4 from you and John helping the doctor. It's up to you.
Wait, so I could invoke this and add it, or?
Well, no. You can invoke this to get you get the straight 3 that you have now, or you can create an advantage, which will mean that you'll get a better roll afterwards.
I think creating the advantage. I think advantage feels good, especially with the lack of the fate points on my end to like build up as many chances as possible.
So what you have done is that you create an advantage, and we'll call it we'll call this clarity in science, with 2 free invokes, which you can use to get a +4.
Cool.
Guess whose turn it is? We've had Team Door, and we've had Team Science, and now we have
Team Bear?
Plague. Yeah, Team Plague Bearer. They are going to. You can hear them at the door, and then you can hear this sickening thud, which is, you can not just feel it, but you can hear it. This moist thud of flesh just smash against the door. And they also need an 8 to get through the door. They are going to roll to see how they do. They roll a 6 out of a 3, which is a 3 successes. You have that barricade you can use to reduce right now, or you can wait on it.
And this is now Team Door, so let's conference Team Door. Let's huddle.
Jack and Haley, Team Door.
Yeah. So I think there are more things. I feel like there are more things we can do in more rounds. So using it now is probably, I think, a good idea. So
I think so as well.
Keep them as much at bay as possible.
Yeah, let's get that early advantage. Let's take it.
In which case, you invoke you can feel them smash up against the door, but the door, they hit that barricade, and they only get 1 success worth of push. But I'll just use some of my fate points next round. Team Door, it's you. What would you like to do? They are working madly. She's working. Once you've told her this is not Marburg hemorrhagic fever, she's sitting there. She's trying to work through the sample that she's gotten from John, who she's stitched up. She's trying to look through she's trying to figure out how to synthesize this. And each of these turns is like taking like a half hour. We're gonna say it's like a half hour's worth of intense work. Team Door, what do you want to do? Your door has no free invokes on it, but you still have barricades there. but you can reinforce it. You can do whatever you want. It's all up to you.
I'm having an odd thought that doesn't directly involve the door.
Do whatever you want.
But which involves doing something to distract them, to make them think there are victims in another direction.
How would you do
and,
that?
Well, it involves. I'm gonna. Here's what I'm thinking of doing without my shadow.
I just want to encourage you to use corruption. That's all I'm doing. I'm just hey,
I
do you want to use some corruption?
You're doing your job.
I'm just here for that.
It involves quietly, essentially, getting out of this room through some other means. I don't know about if we have other ways out or another door or another exit or what have you, but to basically come around and either, if need be up on the roof, or if not, just be sort of somewhere off a ways, where I can basically, and I would pull out a because I have, once again, this stunt that allows me to have things that I can use, sort of stage magic type props on me at all times. So I'd pull out, those laughing bags. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I do. I do remember them. They were ridiculous.
Yes.
In the best way. Yes.
To basically toss it out somewhere, anywhere there's like scrub or bushes, or somewhere where they're not going to be able to see immediately what it is necessarily, but there's stuff happening somewhere outside. There are more victims outside, preferably wherever there's movement outside.
Yeah.
And just get it somewhere, throw it out there to distract them, make them think that there's then just set it off so that there's there's laughing going on, someone's out there. There's more delicious victim out there, that perhaps they will consider going after that.
Will you roll me stealth?
I shall roll you stealth.
Because that is what you're doing. And you're trying to set up an advantage here, is what it looks like to me.
Yes.
And I need you to roll stealth for that.
I am rolling stealth. Here we go. 5.
Oh, yes. That 5 will give you an advantage with 1 free invoke as you sort of toss this laughing gas, and you can see, and as you've sort of made your way out of a window and out to the sides, you can kind of see, like, there's like a big central hallway, right, that goes from, on the one end is where like the main doors and the waiting room is, and there's this hallway that goes down where you've got these sort of like rooms on either side, and on the very end of the hallway is the door out to like the other side of the building, if you can imagine like a big central hallway. And you've sort of creeped out and you've tossed this, and you can see at the door 3 of these things, large, massive things.
If I can just minorly say, because there was an excellent idea that just came up from chat, and that's to put it near a vent so that it seems to be echoing, reverberating from different places, so that they're going to have trouble tracking it down.
Certainly.
And you're going to toss it in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to have this, you have the aspect, laughter everywhere.
So they just hear this coming out, reverberating out.
Oh, those laughter bags. Oh.
You know what they sound like.
Oh, I know exactly what they sound like. And they were always creepy. Haley, what do you want to do as these shadows come up against the door, smashing, and there's a little bit of a pause as they're sort of, as you hear this creepy laughter echo everywhere?
I think I'm going to use my turn to just build up the door. I think that's a good way to do, like, two whammy, like a double whammy of like keep them away from the door and try to build it up as much as possible.
That is physique.
Just because I don't think I'll just roll that.
That is physique. It's a little bit easier because you've already built the barricade. Now, normally that would just be a tie. Normally that would just be a tie, that would not be a success, but because you've already built the barricade, you're able to add a new free invoke to it. Team Science.
I like to think I found a broom and I put it in between the handles.
Oh yeah. And you can hear them going, hey, Team Science. What would you like to do?
I think John would like to help out by invoking the Yellow King's plague is spreading, because now we have enough samples and research
Oh, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
to help out with Elaine's role.
Oh, yes. What are you going to be? Roll your academics for that. John, roll your
Elaine?
academics. No, John.
Oh, John.
John's going to try to help you out with this plague everywhere. Ooh, that's good. That's good. Let's see how that goes. Give it to me.
There it is.
That's a 2. Spend your fate point for the Yellow King's plague is spreading. And that will get you a bonus. Elaine. You need to roll. And you have 2 free invokes that you got because you were really working on trying to sort of figure this out with your scientific thinking. And John is helping you because of the plague spreading.
Cool.
This is good.
And then this is where can I use the stunt from the future because it's regarding the missions brief, correct?
Already used it. Used it for the last
time. Used it.
Okay,
Okay,
big bonus.
Awesome. Got it. Cool. And then
you have a potential +6 waiting for you on this roll.
And that's with the 2 evokes from clarity. Oh, there's 2 evokes.
Yeah, the 2 evokes from the scientific clarity and the 1 invoke from John's plague samples.
And then, like, if cashing all of them in now, like, is that more worthwhile or doing another roll and then doing that again?
You roll now
like,
first. You make your roll.
Is now first?
Make your academics roll. Yeah, you roll your roll.
It rolled a 4. I got a 4.
So you got a 4.
It's great.
So you succeeded by 1.
Okay.
Because you need to beat a 3. If you cash in all 3 of those, that's a 6, which puts you at 7, which is 1 away of what you need to get her to finish that cure.
Ooh, do it, right? Like, I think team wise, like, gotta do it, right? Because we gotta get there. We gotta get there sooner. So let's cash it in. Cash it in.
Cash in the team one?
Cash it in. Cash it in the teamwork.
The team one? What aspect would you like to invoke?
Oh, no, not the team one. No, not the team one. Do we want to do the fate? Do we want to do the fate point too? Is that something we want to do, or do we want to wait for door to happen again?
If you use it, you will synthesize, and if you invoke a large topic, that's 1 more ripple.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I feel good about that. How does everyone else feel about that? Like me, who's building up. There's only so much furniture in this room. Like we're 1 away.
I'm totally good with it.
Okay. All right. Let's bank it with all of it. Let's go all in to getting this cure out.
All in. I want you to describe. Well, wait, don't describe it yet. Don't describe it yet, because I need to make a roll first. Before. Yeah. I just need to make a roll first. I'm going to roll my 3 creatures at the door creatures. All of them are going to start ripping off parts of their body in order to better become stronger. Their body starts growing, their limbs start just like moving outwards. And I'm going to roll I'm rolling a +9 here. It looks like an 8. Well, that's an 8, but that was like a terrible roll. So I'm going to spend 1 of my fate points to re-roll that, because that was a terrible, terrible roll, and I would like them to maybe say hi to you. And I'm going to be using their aspect full of hate to pull through this door and roll again. That's a 9. 8, 9, 10, 11. So I would like you to describe how you, with John's help, with the doctor, are able to take the sample from John, and in this moment, it takes you about a half hour to, and I have a question for you. This is going to be on you, Jackie Dash, how you're able to synthesize this cure.
So I think within this like half-hour span as everything is going through, she's like looking through the microscope, and I think it's like up on a screen where we can kind of see and kind of guide what she's doing, and just like doing iterations after iterations, sending them through a cycle and back again, and each time it's like the thing, the plague comes out different each time, and it's like the synthesizing down to the core of the protein that lives at the bottom, right? It's like I imagine this being an unraveling as we go, and I'm looking for it, and I think John sees it because he sees the yellow sign.
Yes, he does.
He sees the sign, the plague, the coil of this protein just makes it, and he says, "It's right there. That's it." And that's how John helps.
Yes, and she starts synthesizing. Now I'm going to say something to you, dearest Haley and Jack. I rolled enough to get through the door without 8, 9, 10, 11 plus 2 more. That's a 13. So I've rolled a 10. They need an 8 to get through that door. So without any kind of influence from you all, they're going to get through the door this turn. However, you all have spent your turns building up advantages that you can use to reduce their efficacy. You have a barricade with 1 free invoke and a distracted worth another 2, pardon me. If you spend both of them, that 10 that they got is going to go down to a 6 and they won't get through the doors. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I mean, you've just spent your turns building up these advantages to make it harder for them to get through, but you don't have to use them if you don't want to. You just have to, you can think about it.
I don't know. What do you think?
I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, who has the dagger?
You do.
Oh, no.
I think it's me. And so my thought is, what if we use some of the barricades and then aim like a coup de grace with the dagger?
You can do whatever you like because I care about you very much. So now here's the thing. What would you like to do? Because Jack can invoke his to make it a tie, which means they'll get through. We need both of them. Jack need to invoke yours, and Haley, you need to invoke yours.
So I mean, I'm definitely wanting to invoke mine because, damn it, I need to see it. It needs to see use.
You invoke your distraction. Haley,
I think I will invoke mine, with the caveat.
But wait. You really want to invoke it? Here's the thing. Don't you have a trouble aspect about needing to be, like on the scene and pretty badass and all that goodness? Don't you have that? I feel like you do. I feel like your trouble aspect is to drive clicks. You need to be over the top and first on the scene. I feel like that's your trouble aspect. Am I wrong?
Here's the thing. It's not my. Oh, it is. It is my trouble aspect. You're right.
It is. I will offer you a fate point. This is a compel, and you can say no and give me a fate point instead. But if you take the fate point, you've got the barricade set up. It's set up. You know you can hold them out for a little while longer. Or you could not reinforce the barricade and just let them through so that you can attack them and be first on the scene and over the top. I'm just saying, I feel like maybe you'd let these creatures in so you could attack them with that special knife that has been calling to you. And if you do, I will give you a fate point. If not, you'll just have to give me a fate point. But I'm just saying, it's there.
I think with the thought of like Elaine's thing of like, I forgive you. I'm like,
that is true.
I don't need forgiveness, but I want to have this conversation. I think there's like a voice in the back that's like, no, I want to have the conversation with Elaine where I get to forgive her and Jack for tying all of this, which means I can't die yet. I know an influencer's life is short, but not this short.
Fair.
So I am going to pay the fate point.
Give me the fate point.
However, I am going to make sure the dagger is close. Like that is part 2 of this.
Okay. You give me that fate point.
Oh, Claudia, you don't have to minus a fate point for that.
No, you do, because it's a compel.
Oh, you do? Oh, got it.
Because it's a compel. It's a. I can give you a fate point, or you can give me a fate point. It's one of the others. So, describe it. In this moment, there are these 3 shambling creatures, and they're outside the store, and they're like smashing against the door over and over. And there's a moment you can feel it crack, the door crack. And at this one last moment, they're about ready to smash through. And one of them sort of slips a little bit as it turns to hear this laughter down the hallway. And it starts shambling away, leaving only 2 rather than the full force of the 3. And that last 2, they're about to smash through. And I want you to tell me how that happens, how you keep that barricade up.
I think Haley pulls out the dagger, and like there is definitely a moment where like there is a private conversation between the dagger and Haley, and there's like a and I think Haley actually uses it and like stabs it into the ground in a way that the furniture then won't like bend or move any further away, using it kind of like the dagger not as a stabbing tool but as like a
wedge
blockade tool. And she
Mhm,
puts her foot just kind of on it to try to keep it down, and is like, we have maybe 10 minutes.
As this creature smashes up against these 2 double doors, and the paned glass that is sort of like a frosted glass shatters into the room, and like you can see this sort of like pulsing, oozing yellow flesh, and eyes open up on this flesh. 4, 5, 6 eyes, and you can just hear as you hold the line. And Jack, you're on the outside, and you can see one and then a second one start wandering off towards where your laughter's going. And Dr. Brodeur goes, I have it. I have the cure. I have it. And she comes over to John, and she injects you, John, with, well, I'm sorry, hold on. She's about to inject you. Hey, Wild, would you like a would you like a compel? So I'm going to just give you a compel. You can decide what you want to do about it. You know, she's about to inject you with this cure, serum, something. But didn't you have a dream about this once? Didn't you have a dream where you were going to be injected with a serum, but it wasn't a cure, it was poison? It would kill you. Whatever it was something that was not what you wanted. It was not what you needed. You don't need a cure. This woman is probably dangerous. I'm going to offer you a fate point if, rather than allowing yourself to be cured, you attack this woman because she's dangerous. It's up to you. Would you like that fate point?
Oh no. I mean, the logical part of me says no, I don't want that fate point.
I mean, you do have 4 fate points. It's up to you. Maybe you want 5. Because, do you remember Carcosa John? He wouldn't want this. Carcosa John would not want you taking this poison that would ruin everything. Everything.
But Elaine is there watching, and Elaine reminded me that dreams lie. So I'll give you my fate point.
All right, give me your fate point, and I want you to tell me as she's coming closer with this needle. She's coming closer with this serum that she has spent the last hour and a half working on madly. And the only reason why she's able to work this so quickly is because you had, and Elaine was able to give her the exact formula for the cure, with the exception of this one protein, which she got from you, John, by taking the sample from you. And she comes closer to you, and you hear it in your voice. Oh, no, 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 no. You don't want that. You don't want that at all. This is some sort of poison that will ruin everything. You should kill her. John, kill her. What do you do?
And I can hear the voice in my head. I'll just say to the voice, but I need it to make me feel better, because how else am I going to give you the mask?
The voice says nothing. But you know the voice is disappointed. As you stand there and you let this woman inject you with this cure for this illness. And she says, I think this will work. Just give me a few more moments. And she gives you this cure, and 2 seconds, 5, you can hear the panting of the machines, of these creatures trying to get through the door. You know you do not have a lot of time left. And all of a sudden, after maybe it feels like hours, as this tense moment, as you can hear these creatures pounding against the door, you feel it. Or, John, at least you feel the absence of it. You aren't hungry anymore. You aren't hungry anymore. And you all can see in his face, the color is returning back to his skin. It's a beautiful, beautiful brown, rather than the sort of bright yellow that was creeping in on all the edges. And his eyes clear up. No longer are the whites of his eyes turning yellow. And you can just see him returning to something more human. And then you hear it. Boom! Boom! The creatures pounding against the door. What would you like to do? Jack, you're out there on the outside.
Okay. I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going, as I see it happening, and going to quick text to the group. You got it? Question mark.
Elaine will text back like, we got it. John has it. John has it now. It's clearing up.
Okay, I'm just going to text back real quick. Starting the boat. And I'm starting the boat, and I'm going to run. I'm going to actually I'm going to slip out quietly. Come to think of it, I'm not going to run. I'm not going to bolt. I'm going to hide and slip out and try to make it back to the boat.
I'm going to need from each one of you either a stealth or a physique or athletics. Stealth or athletics, one of those two.
We're trying to get the scientist out with us, right? Like,
Yes.
we as a team want to get them onto the boat too.
That would be great, because she can keep making cures.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So stealth or athletics roll.
Stealth or athletics.
No. okay, cool. Stealth, because
It's a
story-wise, that's
group.
great.
Mm-hmm. Let's see how
Okay.
everyone's doing. I want it from everyone first. Mhm.
I'm going to go with physique, and I'm going to just put out there, I will pick up the dagger before I leave. I am not going to leave
course.
it on the ground.
It wouldn't let
I
you.
have played
I mean, but how about
multiple
this?
games.
How about this? You leave the dagger, but it's still on your person when you look for it. Either one of those things happen. I mean,
Yeah, that's fair. Magic time knives don't stay lost, do they?
They, especially when somebody's given them blood. John.
I guess I'll try and stealth past, and I'll use my walk it off because
Yes.
now's not the time to be.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely fabulous. Roll it.
So that's a +1 or +2.
You get a +2. All right. Let's talk about what happens. Haley books it. Jack is stealthing out. Elaine is also trying to stealth out John. You're stealthing out with Elaine. You rolled a legendary. As you are all stealthing out, except for Haley, who's just like, go! Outrun them. Elaine is about to step on something that is going to make a very loud noise that's going to draw the attention of these plague bearers. You can see it. She can't. She is going to get caught. But you rolled a legendary because you can walk it off. I want you to tell me how you save her in this moment. Because if you had not rolled that legendary, she would be set upon. But you can stop it. How do you do it?
Pushing isn't going to help. I'm going to move it into my dream.
Explain, describe it in detail. You can see this creature, and Elaine doesn't see it. She's being stealthy, but she's not being as stealthy as she thinks it is, as she thinks she is. And this creature sort of emerges from the darkness behind one of the sort of trees, and it starts to loom towards her from behind her, and you see it happening, and she doesn't see it. How do you pull it into your dreams?
Because of everything that's going on, all the medication, the injuries, the pain, even just trying to walk it off, I'm in this weird half days of trying to get out with everyone. And I see this, and I think to myself that that's not what's happening right now, because we're escaping. We always escape. When we're together, there's nothing we can't do. And I'm like, it's got to be part of my dream. And it slowly fades as it's reaching out towards Elaine. And as it tries to grab her, it just passes through her.
And it goes into your dreams. And you make it onto the boat. Haley, give me a drive.
Yeah. I can
Give me
do
a drive
that.
roll. Yeah, give that to me. I'm just curious. How's that going to go? It is not a difficult roll. That is all you needed. You make it off the island. It was a very easy roll. And you make your way out of Sierra Leone with a doctor who has a cure for the king's plague. And with that, my friends, we're going to take a 10-minute break, and we're going to come back to give our setup for the very last event. I want to thank you all for being here so far. Come back in 10. I want you to drink some fluids, stretch your legs, hydrate, all of that. And they're going to level up in the middle, in the break. And in the meantime, get ready for the last timeline event. Welcome back, everyone. Hello, everyone here in the audience. It is so nice to have you here. I appreciate everyone who's been watching. I hope you have hydrated. I hope that you went to a small cafe, perhaps in Spain, and had some really decadent desserts that are full of plague, or also Carcosa, or who knows what. I mean, it's really unclear. But I hope you had a great break, and I am ready to take this group and see what happens to them next. However, before we did that, I thought we could do a little bit of housekeeping with this together so that you can see how this goes. By the way, Coolest Gamer 69420, if you hang out on our Discord, you can ask us lots of questions about the Fate system over on our stream. Or if you catch us at the tunnel, like the first 5-10 minutes of the show next week, I can answer questions there as well. But let's go over to our timeline for this Fate of Cthulhu timeline moment. Our heroes were quite successful in. Could we get the timeline screen, our dearest Lydia? They were successful in getting that plague done, and this has some implications for our team. They were able to get 2 positive ripples in the timeline, which you can see over here. Whoop. Which means that the plague is spreading is going to be better. First off, they get to rename that aspect. What all would you like to rename that aspect? The Yellow King's plague is spreading.
I believe you went with unraveling. The Yellow King's plague is unraveling.
Let's do that. Now, because the plague is unraveling, that makes it easier for them to, make things a little bit better in the future, for example. Now, you can have one positive thing happen in this old timeline so that when future time travelers come through, this will be a little bit better for them. Which would you like to change? Either make Marburg, the hemorrhagic fever, a little bit less harsh, the victim of the plagues a little bit less dangerous, and you've already changed Sierra Leone. So you've got the thing or the foe. Or you could make Dr. Brodeur even more competent. It's up to you.
I mean, I think we should probably make the victim of the plague less, because that's what got us, fam.
Yeah.
So if we had to pick one, making it so we could not get or the next time travelers not get eaten might be good.
Yeah.
And it would actually also fit John's desire to help cure the people of Sierra Leone. By turning this from negative to neutral, that means fewer people will be infected and they will be in a better position in the future. So you're having a positive impact on the people of Sierra Leone because fewer of them will be infected. Now, that said, you now have 2 positive ripples for the future. One you can send to the Rise of the Great Old One, which is the whole point. You want to get that as positive as possible so that humanity can survive, and you've only had 1 tick on that one, and you can make the place you're going next a little bit less bad. What would you like to? So at this moment, there's you can make the pallid mask a better situation, or the foes a better situation. What would you like to do? How would you like to make this a little bit better than it was before? Well, than it will be.
I think shifting either the person or place for setup, if we're going in to go investigate the mask, having a good setup on person or place, only because John mentioned that he wants to get the pallid mask to the voice. I'm happy with leaving that negative for flavor, but that's a me thing where Steph is like, yes, make it messy.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the how those will affect us in the long run.
You don't know. Although you do have a ritual that can help with that.
That's true. I should use that at some point. That'd be great.
I mean, there are consequences, but I'm sure you're cool with it.
Just need a body. Just a body, right?
Well, as a person who was a body, let's think about what
Yeah,
body
no.
he chooses.
A sacrificial
No.
body. What would you like?
Yeah, I'm good with going with the person. Yeah.
All
Just
right.
getting in there a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Your museum director will be less
Mm-hmm.
hostile or endangered. And how would you like to improve your overall timeline? And, because it's one of those things that your ultimate goal is to make it so that humanity can survive and, not die to the King in Yellow rising and destroying everything, because that would be terrible. So, what would you like?
From a meta perspective, like at least
Mhm.
knocking out a negative instead of putting a positive is going to be the same outcome. So I think setting ourselves
Mhm.
up to removing a negative seems to be a good idea.
Agreed.
The foe is currently blank though. Is that the plague is spreading is everywhere or something? Is that what the foe is?
You mean in the Rise of the Great Old One?
In the great, yeah.
You
It's
don't know who the
unlisted.
foe is.
We don't know who the foe is. Oh, good.
It's the King in Yellow, but
Oh, sure.
maybe
That's
it might not be the
true.
King in Yellow. You don't know who the foe is.
That's true.
Just like you don't know who the foe is at the British Museum.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
think yeah.
Maybe we should go with the problem we know. Let's start with the King in Yellow.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do we want the appearances to be less of a problem, or there to be less appearances?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a way, we've been dealing with the appearances, right? With like the play not being done at all means I think that the king isn't necessarily appearing everywhere.
That's true.
Yeah, so I think the person might, just so they're
All right.
guarantee that they're not in as many places.
Well,
And
so that's the question. It's like, do we need to take out the King in Yellow appearing simultaneously, or do we need to take out every major city across the globe? Which one of those would work? Which one gets us fewer places, I guess, is the question.
Yeah.
Because they both have many locations, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe the place seems more impactful, so it's not like simultaneously in all the places, right? Like you can do simultaneous, but simultaneously in two places versus every major city, right? That seems to be a minimizing
Every major city
effect.
one at a time versus simultaneously in fewer places.
I'm just for the record, and also for chat to note, because remember we have that one big major donation. If they're at -4, which they're no longer at, humanity's doomed. Like, it's just real bad. If they can end this campaign, which is next session, on a +1, which they're currently at a -3, then, life is still pretty terrible, actually. But it's just not as bad. The heroes may live long enough to see everybody collapse and die. If you can get to a good, which is a +3, you have a fighting chance. You have a fighting chance. Best
We've
would be
got
a
a lot,
+4.
I think, to fix.
You have a lot to fix. You have a lot to fix. So
You're going to start invoking these things right and left.
yes, you do.
Yeah.
This is going to be the big push. And there's also one miracle out there for you. So
Okay.
what would you like? Which one, place or person?
Let's go with place.
All right.
Sounds
It
good.
is done.
We just need...
It is done. Place. You have some work to do.
So are we at a -2 now?
You are at a -2.
Okay.
You'd like to get
That's doable.
better. Let's go to our full screen, everybody. Please note, they have got one last event to try to get as much as they can. Right? Okay. I'm ready for him. And so, we bring up our curtain. Let us say y'all are on the boat, traveling back, or maybe you're on a plane. It has been, or maybe it's been a little bit of time to recover. Where have you recovered, would you say?
Do I still have to do that show in Ghana?
You do have to do the show in Ghana,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact. So maybe
I
actually
feel as
you
though
are
I'm in a hotel in Ghana.
yeah, you are recovering in the hotel in Ghana, which makes sense to me. I like it. Now, actually, how does the show go? Can you give me I need a roll. Give me a roll.
Okay.
Oops. Pardon me about
Let's
that one.
see.
You just ignore whatever that was. I didn't want to roll that token.
No, it's
There we go,
okay.
but it's fine. It's fine.
Let's see. Well, no, let me do the roll. So I think. Whoa. Okay. My roll 20 just decided to go away
be
for a
weird.
second. Let me pull it back up. It's I hit the wrong thing, but it's coming back. Okay. So let's see. For this performance, let me go ahead and close that. I just adjusted my stats a little bit for the level up. This is rapport, I guess. Something like that, do you think? Or would this be
What do you have? Do you have
craft? If we go more technical.
craft? Yeah. You could do both.
Yeah, I think if we go more technical, I guess we could go with crafts if that would be acceptable.
And Aura is there because she's been doing all
Yes.
this work setting things up for you.
Awesome. So yeah, I'll go ahead and go with the roll on crafts, and then I have a terrible idea, but give me a second to see what happens with the roll. Great. So
Great. Can I get a roll from Haley?
Is this a
Haley,
crafts or rapport or?
you could be using some rapport if you like to sort of glean some fame off of this. I'm just saying.
I will.
we're totally bringing Haley into the act if she wants to be.
Okay. All right. So I would like a little bit of a description of this. I would like to know if John or Elaine have anything they would like to do to help with what is basically a fundraising event to help people who've been hit with this plague, to sort of basically help people. And this is a Gideon Fox fundraiser, but Haley's on the scene as well, as a matter of fact. Yes. And what about John and Elaine? Would they like to help with this fundraiser at all?
Yeah, sure. I feel like John feels like for some reason it's a good idea to do, I don't know, a food drive.
Oh, nice. What skill would you like to use?
Maybe empathy.
Yes. I like it. Give me that empathy. Ooh, all right. And what about Elaine? How would you like to help in this sort of moment, right, of aid?
I've worked in academics, and I'm assuming that I have contacts in knowing how to reach out to the right people to get the word out about what's going on, especially with a lot of like humanitarian efforts, etc. So let's see. Oh, Missy, how great you! That's mediocre. Yeah, it's academic, so it's like pushing it. It's like pushing it when it comes to like a lot of like these sorts of fundraisers.
Yeah, the food drive is not particularly successful. You try to work with your contacts, but people are actually pretty busy. You're kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's a little bit harder to get things done. But I want you to tell me, Jack, how great your magic show is in raising funds.
Can I use a fate point to modify this roll?
Yes. Are you saying that you don't want to be beaten by Haley right now? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, not necessarily. Well, I have motives, right?
Okay, all right.
And my motive is that I'm thinking I'd like to tag the Yellow King's plague as unraveling, because this means more people are able to show up because they're not as sick. I wanted to actually set it up so that people can register since we still have Dr. Brodeur around, so you can register to get inoculated if need be.
Yes.
And actually help spread the word that way, sort of combining it.
Okay.
So I would like to spend a fate point to use that
Yes.
Use that
I've given you-
aspect.
please do. I've given you a checkpoint. Spend your fate point.
Excellent.
Hey,
And,
Jackie Dash.
Yeah.
It's tied between you and Jack right now, 6-6. He just spent a fate point to invoke one of the aspects, which means you're no longer beating him in terms of excellence in this event. I just want to know if you want to do anything about it. I'm just asking.
How dare?
I'm just asking.
I think if this was Gideon face tattoo Fox, I think she would have definitely done something. But I think in this situation, Haley is going to be complimentary and be, obviously put it on Instagram Live, start a hashtag, get it going in circles. Yeah, and I think it's more that she's tying in the concept of like, isn't it cool to get like inoculated, to tie in maybe in like, if you haven't gotten your flu shot yet, go get your flu shot, and tie it in that way. So yeah, I think maybe the lead up, Haley is like all over it, and then Jack does the blowout of the night. Does that sound fair, other doc?
I have a question for you, because I just realized the thing that we can tie in, and this is kind of his way of apologizing to you 10 years later. Would you like to set me on fire?
I think that is great, because for you it's been 10 years. For Haley, it's been maybe 6 weeks.
Yes, right. Would you describe what happened? I feel like we need to have this little moment between you two backstage to discuss this, because I feel like our audience does not know what happened between you two that involved somebody being set on fire. And I feel like they might want to know.
So I think I'm trying to remember what we said. What did we say? It was at a public event, and there were these drinks that wouldn't stop. Like the one you got was one that wouldn't stop, couldn't be blown out, and you ended up setting fire to a couple of things. Yeah, because Gideon messed with it.
I think this was one of those Gideon like stage performances of like, look at the fire that won't go out, and it was one of on Haley's like fire shot, and so
and this was if I remember correctly, this was a joint event between you two that ended up not working out so well for Haley, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I did lose.
I think it was there were multiple online personalities and stuff there as well, and so it was that kind of deal. Of course. So yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, of course, then pictures got out, and there's always in internet things. There's always going to be fuels where the Howlers went against Gideon's fan base, attacking Gideon's fan base, and then Gideon's fan base was not a fan of that. So it just blew up into a huge TMZ spot.
Yeah, that was about 6 weeks ago when you were still a fitness Instagrammer. Yeah.
I was slowly moving over. We had gotten the new merch with the mouths on it, the screams.
Yeah. And so, in this moment, I would love to see the ask where Jack, not Gideon, brings up the setting him on fire to Haley.
Okay. And so, Jack, I think it's going to be one of those things where it's like we're sort of setting up stuff backstage, and there hasn't been a lot of time to set up really elaborate effects or props, but there are a few pieces of equipment that we bring along, and I say, okay, Haley, I've got, I don't know if you want to call this a present per se. This is kind of, you remember when I showed up at your door and I saw kind of when things were between you and Gideon, well, you and me at that time. And so I wanted to offer you something, if you'd like to do it, if you'd like to hop on stage when the time comes to do this in the act. And it is, well, it is this. And he will go over and he will take the cloth off of this piece of equipment that's there. And it's basically a very colorfully painted flamethrower that is sitting on this table. That sort of it's basically like marked. It's got some ridiculous name or sign on it that it's like the I don't know, the spout of death or something like that. And being like, so if you want to, basically, I'm going to be I'm going to be center stage at the time, and the idea is that this sort of I'm going to be inside a box. The idea is this is sort of a death trap, right? I'm actually going to be wearing retardant clothing, but I've got an outer layer that's got flash paper on it, so it's going to look like I'm going up in flames. Would you like? And he just
Yes.
sort of will just sort of nod for a moment, and he just sort of as he looks up, Haley Rogers, would you like to set me on fire?
Of course. I thought you'd never ask. And I think she goes like towards the flamethrower and just picks it up. And if I may propose a cut, I think the next scene is like just an aftermath of like Haley wearing a very nice outfit, like and there's like smoke on the stage afterwards as Jack finishes his drink. If everyone's okay with that cut.
Yes. And I would say that the home team together has worked really hard to actually raise quite a lot of money and resources to help combat this King's Plague and also get a lot of people inoculated, sort of making this sort of space a much better space, which means that you have recovered long enough. Elaine's cast is taken off. John's bite has been recovered. And it is time. You might remember that briefing that Valerie gave. You remember you were in the briefing room and she was speaking to the team that was sent back that did not in your timeline include Haley's brother. But Haley's brother is still out there somewhere. Don't worry about it. It's cool. But you remember the briefing she gave and she said, so the fourth timeline moment, there was a story from a few survivors of the King's manifestation in London, the first place the King came in 2030, that says that after appearing in London, the King entered the British Museum and it corrupted most of the staff and the patrons immediately, but that was not why it went to the museum. It went to the Assyrian collection in the museum. There was a mask there. It was pale, and it went to this place, the King in yellow, and it put on this mask. And when the King put on the mask, witnesses, the ones who survived, they said that he changed after he put on the mask. He said that there was this great power emanating from it that was more than physical. It was something unhealthy, and it just was increased all the power that the mask had, that this man had, the king, this whatever it is. The mask itself was labeled Pallid Mask 870 BCE, and it was found in the palace of Ashurbanipal in the ancient Assyrian city of Nimrud in 1851. And what was strange is that this mask was different than all of the other masks in this collection. All of the other masks were very, very thickly adorned. They had all sorts of gold and jewels, and this one was just plain. It was a white pallid mask, plain and simple, smooth. And many scholars believed all this time that it was not from Assyria at all. Elaine has put forth the theory perhaps that this mask was from this place called Carcosa. So this mask would not be that interesting by itself, except it would just be a footnote, except that in this play, The King in Yellow, it speaks of a stranger in a pallid mask. And in this masquerade, in this play, in Act 1, the guests challenge this guest in the pallid mask, and they say, you must take off this mask. And what were the lines? The lines were, Camila, she says, you, sir, you should unmask. And the stranger says, indeed. And Casilda, she says, indeed, it is time. It is midnight. It is time that we all lay aside our disguises. We all have taken off our masks. We all have done so, but you. And then the stranger says, I wear no mask. And then Camila, she screams, no mask, no mask. And they try to rip this mask away, but there is no mask to rip. This pallid mask is only its face. And so, if this pallid mask is important to the king, particularly if it enhances the king's power, then when you go back in time to 2020, you must take this mask out of play. So the mission is to find the mask in the British Museum and destroy it. Pull it off the wall. Take a hammer to it. Just do whatever you need. Just light it on fire. Do whatever it takes to destroy this mask. Whatever will work. Because anything that can weaken the king here in 2030 is one more advantage that humanity has for survival. And Valerie's mission brief to you rings in your ears as you make your way to London. And perhaps you check out the museum before you do your research. You don't know. Let me ask, would you go and scope it out before you went in? Or would you, when you arrive in London, would you hang out in a hotel first? Tell me what you would do.
And I can tell you what I would do, but I want to let other people talk.
I know that Elaine would probably. Oh, you go first, Haley. You first.
Oh no, I was basically just gonna say, I think while we don't know everything about Jack's past, I think it's become clear that Jack in this mission might be captain of the guard per se. So I think Haley's just gonna listen to whatever Jack says. And what were you gonna say, Elaine? Stephanie?
I think that Elaine will do. Elaine will definitely go to the museum, probably on her own, just because she, I think, misses it. And so she does take a trip on her own at least once or twice. It's just like, that museum is humongous. So she would go find it, but also like she would just go to the museum, I think.
Anyone else?
I think John would also go to the museum a couple times, but spend more time just going through their book, just trying to figure out which dreams are true, which dreams are lies.
So, the first person to hit the museum as you arrive, London is beautiful. It is quiet. It is calm. And the first person to make it to the museum, I imagine, is Elaine, just to visit the museum. Maybe find out where that mask might be in the Assyrian collection. But there's only one visit to the museum at first. When you arrive at the museum, Elaine, as you're all thinking about doing your preparation, the museum is not quiet. Surrounding the museum itself is barricaded. There is an entire set of police the SCO 19, which is the British police that does carry guns, firearms. They are outside of the museum that's all been barricaded. And they have their guns at the ready to shoot anyone who comes out of the museum. And you hear it. You hear them talking. And they say, "We don't know what happened. Some sort of 8-foot tall, shambling thing in a yellow top hat. Some sort of tattered yellow robe. Just came into the museum and started attacking people. And everyone in there just started transforming. We don't know what that thing is doing in there, but something terrible's happened in that museum." And Elaine, you hear them talking amongst themselves. Is the Yellow King here in 2020 when it shouldn't have emerged until 2030? Is it in the museum right now, going to get the mask that will give it the ultimate power? John, maybe you're dreaming. Maybe you're awake, but you see yourself in your robes in the museum. And you have in your hands the pallid mask. And you turn and you see the Yellow King, kindly as you remembered him back in old Carcosa, tall, tired, needing your help. And you begin to hand the yellow mask over to him. Haley, you have the knife in your hand, and you run forward to stab John, to stop him from giving the mask to the Yellow King. Elaine is there. She's on the ground. You think she's bleeding. You don't know. Jack, you want to try to do something, but your shadow has emerged from behind you and is holding you back so that you cannot stop it. The Yellow King stretches out a hand and strikes down Haley, the dagger scattering to the floor. And John, you laugh, but your laugh is quiet, so very quiet, as you hand the pallid mask to the Yellow King, who places it on his face and becomes more powerful than you could ever imagine. And the apocalypse which ends the world in 2030 happens today and now in 2020. And it is you, Quiet John, who brings it forward. And you wake with a start in this hotel room in London. And Jack is there, maybe playing with cards. Haley's there, maybe checking her phone. And Elaine has gone out. You know she went to the museum, but you don't know if she's all right. And that is where we'll end the episode. My friends, next week is our last session. It all comes down to this. Will our heroes be able to save the world? Or will the King in Yellow destroy humanity? To find out, you'll just have to come back next week. So let us have our cast give us the outros. Give us the outros, my cast. First off, before we do, I want to thank Frithiel, who's given us the episode title in the form of a scene aspect. And that title and aspect is Everything is Fine. Because I feel like we all know that that is the case. Everything is fine. So, my friends, I would love, if you do not mind, to go around. We're going to do a raid afterwards, but let us go and start where we stopped last time. Let's start with Sour Fruit Junkie. Tell us who you are, where we can find you, and give some stars and wishes. And I've got my notes up so I can write them down.
Oh man. Hi, I'm Steph. You can find me on the internet as at Sour Fruit Junkie on Twitter and on Instagram as Steph MHC, and I post photos of my my cat, my snake, and my art. That's what I do. And share stars and wishes to everybody. I think I love everybody this episode. I definitely love everybody. Thank you, Trooper, for like the horrible dream place and letting me play in this like horrible space where nothing was fine.
What?
Other Doc, it's fine. It's just friendly things. Other Doc, I love seeing you do the burgles, and like watching Jack do these things was like very cool and wonderful. Haley, thank you for being an absolute emotional mess with me. Claudia did an incredible job. I was like, let's be dysfunctional. It's fine. And Wild Engineer. Oh my God, the things that you did. Oh man. Warms and breaks my heart at the same time. This is very wonderful. So couldn't have really wished for a better team of people. This is very enjoyable.
And your wish for the last episode?
My wish for the last episode, holy crap. I think Elaine wants to defeat the king. Like that vision of the ocean light, just like I think is very meaningful to her. I think that's the thing that's very meaningful to her. She wants that wish. She wants that to come true.
Yeah. You know, I'm sure it's not at all a bad thing that the King in Yellow might be here right now in 2020. I'm sure it's fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Wild, who are you? Where can we find you? Give some stars and wishes.
Yes, hello. I'm Wild at Wild Engineer on Twitch and Twitter. You can find me here and also on Open for Adventure for some Uncaged on Wednesday mornings, and on the podcast Powered by the Players, where we are playing some Crossroads Carnival. My stars today also go out to everybody. Jack, for your amazing laugh. Elaine, for that amazing description, especially with all the ink. Haley, just always hamming it up so much. So wonderful. And Trooper, it's just your descriptions and your on-point music cues are, my lord, just chef's kiss. And yeah, I guess John's wish is to make sure everyone stays safe at whatever the cost.
I just love it when people say things like whatever the cost. It makes me so happy. Speaking of people making me happy, other Doc, we'll see how much skulking about we might have in the British Museum. Who are you? Where can we find you? And why don't you give me some stars and wishes?
This was so good. Who am I? I'm Jim Ryan. I am a writer, streamer, and podcaster. My stuff is I'm available online at Other Doc on both Twitch and Twitter, and the various things what are happening on let's see, not this week, so I won't worry about Sunday, but on Tuesday nights I run a short campaign of Urban Shadows on my channel, set in present day Rome, Italy. I'm currently appearing on a podcast that has new episodes coming out. It's called Tabletop Garden. It's the campaign is the Great Molasses Flood, which takes place during the Great Molasses Flood.
Which, if you don't know about it, you should know about it, because that was pretty creepy with that sound effect. So I'm just saying, you should,
It was actually, no, that was very apt. It's not so fun a thing when you're you hear the Great Molasses Flood, you think, oh, that sounds cute and amusing. Not so much when you're neck deep in the stuff. But so that's out. I think for the love to share today, I wish to share with everyone. I love you folks so much. This is so good. This was all just fantastic. My stars do indeed go out to everyone. I just Trooper for just bobbing and weaving so much to help sculpt this thing, this beautiful horrifying creature we've created. It just does not never ceases to amaze me how wonderfully and seemingly effortlessly you do it. You make it look effortless.
Thank you.
It is glorious. Plus, with the freaking props and the music cues, it's glorious. I have to say, I'm going to call out once again, just that scene with Elaine at the beginning was fabulous. Just the sheer showing the back and forth, the temptation, just the desire to sink in and just stay there and trying to fight that, and was such a good depiction of that. One of the best I've seen, actually. Doing and then the scene with Haley coming, just the very emotional scene at the beginning with Elaine, just getting all of that out and just working together. And it's like, no, I actually want to determine my own thing. And it's very interesting. And it's a very cool back and forth that I'm seeing. And I love the dynamics that are just coming out with everybody, but that it really came out well there. Also, in particular to Haley for both for being the door buddy and for setting me on fire. That was very good of you. Then of course, just with Wild, man, I never know if you're going to accept the fate point or not. You're so good at that, just kind of drawing out the drama every single time you're offered a fate point, and it's wonderful. And just that whole move of bringing that monster into your dream, that was beautiful. That was so good. This is all so good, and I'm going to miss it terribly when it is done. But I'm very much looking forward to our seeing what we do next time. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. My wish is, well, if I may be indulgent for a second and just evoke popular culture. Let's go steal us a pallid mask.
Yeah, let's do it. And last but very much not least, the best of all, the dashiest of all the Jackies, the one who's the fastest and, has a whole sound effect. Jackie Dash, who are you? Where can we find you? And give us some stars and wishes.
Yeah, so I'm Jackie Dash, JAKIDASH. I'm so excited to be a part of this game. So much love to hype. Before I tell you more, I'll tell about me. Monday Fun Day, we were playing Final Fantasy 13. If you want to see teenagers kill gods, that's where to hang out.
On motorcycles,
we're almost
with
there.
Really big hair.
Marks. Super big hair. We just saw a cutscene where a bunch of teenagers came, brought their soul vehicles out and stopped a race. And while that happened, the Secret King got killed because the gods want to kill everyone to summon the super god. Like, that's where we're at in the story. So very much similar to what's going on here.
Yes.
I want to give some big shout outs to everyone. This is amazing. I want to, Steph, as always, that's a beautiful scene, but I love that you add the monstrous descriptions of monsters to make them more monster. It's very good when you can have one mind be monstrous, but two minds make a bigger monster. So thank you for doing that. Oh my goodness, Wild. Like, you have this way of creeping in and being like, don't forget, you can never trust. The dream is always there. And like, we know you're on our side, but like, is the dreams on our side? So you've done a fantastic job with that. Other Doc, it's been great to be a hashtag door buddy with you. I love that we've been, since the beginning, playing back and forth with like, hey, this whole friendship thing is weird because one of them has like a 15-year-old friendship and one of them has a 6-week-old friendship. And so it's really nice to see that grow. And it was really nice to play around with that when we were our goth selves. So you are such a great scene partner. Thank you for that. And then Trooper, where do I begin? Accents, quick, ready. You set up scenes, you have music, you have yellow top hats that have never showed up. Like, you are ready for us, and it's so great. So thanks everyone for this. I'm so excited for the museum heist, if there is one, because we do have that scene of just everyone big massive fight. My wish is that, we talk a lot about it throughout this theme of like sacrifices. We're getting into this 8th episode, and so we've sacrificed like Elaine and Jack have sacrificed their future.
Yes, they have.
John and Haley have sacrificed their naivete. It's going to be really interesting to think about what are those lines of sacrifice, of how much of the world has to be surrendered to be able to survive. So thinking about how Jack has this no, don't kill kind of line, and how we've kind of stepped past that. So I'm really looking forward to, as a team, kind of like pulling that out in this last episode.
I'm so excited. And, I'm just going to mention a small rule in case you need to know it. If there's a conflict, you can always do a heroic sacrifice where you have your character die for a massive, massive descriptive of an important end. So I'm just saying, not that you have to, I'm just noting that it's on the table. That said, I am Trooper SJP, and I have been your GM, your game moderator. I've got such a great crew of players, and I would play with them anytime. I love the ways in which they just yes and add on to everybody's stories and are so giving and so kind. I love the way that John keeps us all guessing. Wild is so great at like playing that line of this kind of obsessive person, and I love the way the obsession went from Elaine to John, and that there's they're obsession buddies in the best way possible, and I love it. I love the ways in which Elaine has transformed from somebody who was racked with this kind of guilt to somebody who was a lot more hope in the end, and is coming into this last moment with a lot more hope and groundedness than before. She was always a leader, but she was so racked by guilt. But now, like, there's something really different. And I love the ways in which Jack has a chance to go back and redo what he had done as Gideon and actually do it better this time and not be the kind of jerk Gideon that he had been, and that he can sort of make these differences. And I feel like that that the sort of the big charity event, which involved inoculations, was sort of symbolic of this change, where rather than going to a place to steal things from people, he went to a place to help people. And I also loved how Haley, who's always been self-focused, was able to be like, no, I am not going to steal the spotlight from Jack because I don't have to be self-focused only. And the ways in which they both were able to sort of do something that was impossible for them months earlier, right? And so I love the ways in which everybody has grown, and I'm really excited to see how all of these characters, each one of them who's grown in these different ways, including John, who went from shy and awkward and unwilling to face their power to actually stepping forward and being able to actually save Elaine when Elaine in the past had saved John, right? That each one of these characters has gone through this amazing transformation, and we walk into the final episode next week with these characters in a much grounded space and a stronger team. And I'm so excited to find out, if they'll be eaten. We'll see. That said, we are going to do a raid, and this raid, you have to pay attention. This is really exciting. We're going to raid something that is really, really cool. I personally have always been really interested in RPGs that originally came from countries outside of the US that were not in English. So the Schwarze Auge from Germany, or Lex Arcana, which is from Italy, or In Nomine, which was French. Shadows Estron is French. There are a couple Brazilian games, Japanese games like Ryutama. Like, really interested in like what RPGs are like in other places and how do they create really cool things. And Penny for a Tale has translated a game which in English they're calling Necropunk. It's called L'Ilganaggio in Italian. My Italian's terrible, but so they have translated this really cool game into English called Necropunk, and it's going the Kickstarter for it is going live in May. But it's about the game. It's about humanity using necromancy to reanimate corpses as a cheap workforce, and what does that mean to live in a kind of a world where people are using corpses as like cheap labor, and what does that mean? And so here's the thing, even though the Kickstarter only comes out in May, there is the first time ever an English language actual play of that game happening right now over at Penny for a Tale, and we're going to go and raid them. So I feel like we should go raid them, give them some love, and like hang out a little bit and check out what this really cool game is like that's from Italy originally. So let's do it. We're going to go and raid. Take care of you all. You're wonderful. Everybody who's on YouTube, thank you so much for being on YouTube and making your comments. I see you. Thank you for being so great. And weave the tale, everybody. Let's do our raid.
These are the tales we weave. Tales of magic, tales of mystery, tales exploring the beyond. And while we continue to grow, even more adventures await. In the depths of the unknown. Will you join us in the telling?